welcome to the Rob Burgess Show. I am, of course, your host, Rob Burgess. On this, our 82nd episode, our returning guests are Ash Burgess and Jonathan Fowler. You first heard Ash Burgess on episodes 16, 26, 27, 39, 58, 63, and 77 of the podcast. Ash Burgess has a dusty degree in religious studies, an obsession with pineapples, and an appetite for both high and low culture. She cuts her own hair, bakes her own sourdough bread, and spends most of her time at home with her young son and young daughter. Sometimes she blogs at burgessbaby.blogspot.com. You first heard Jonathan Fowler on episodes 2, 10, 20, 21, 29, 30, 31, 32, 34, 35, 43, 48, 51, 56, 64, and 74 of the podcast. Jonathan graduated with a BA in history from Indiana University in 2006. He is an unabashed left-wing political junkie. He has lived and worked in South Korea for 10 years, trying to help the citizens of that great nation hopefully talk pretty one day. And now, on to the show. Okay, you can turn the sound off in America, though, right?
No, it won't, because I switched the switch to turn his ringer off, but the camera's just still going.
It's a huge problem. Perverts are always on the subway taking up skirts of like schoolgirls and stuff.
This is crazy.
And so, legally in Korea, every phone has to have a shutter sound that cannot be in any way fucked.
We should talk about this.
We can keep this in. This is going.
Are you recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm recording for the last 2 minutes.
Oh no.
Alright.
Should I recall what I said?
Game face. Okay, so we're gonna...
Alright, so...
This is the... Bob, what episode of the podcast is this?
82.
We're 82nd episode of the Rob Burgess Show.
And this is the first crossover episode ever. Crossover... Not only is it a crossover, because there's both you and me, but also, I think, is this the first one where it's been 3 people?
No, it isn't. It is not the first crossover episode of all, but it is the first one of people that I've had on before. And these are my 2 most frequent guests.
That's true. We've both... How many times have you been on?
I don't know, Bob. How many times have I been on?
I believe 17.
You might be the most
Ash is
frequent.
at 7.
Okay.
She's a clear second to him, and then it's really a big drop.
She's got a home field advantage.
I know.
It's true. You know, I'm really much easier to nail down.
Yeah.
Anyways, for this episode of Rob Burgess podcast, we are all in the same place at the same time, and so we're having a beer, reporting this podcast.
I think the word beer doesn't really encompass what's happening here. I'm having, at Jonathan's suggestion, although I find that I'm the only one now drinking one of these.
It's suspicious how 2 people have obtained the 40, and yet one person's drinking a craft beer while the other person is tragically set in.
I thought when I purchased this Mickey's, we were in this together.
We will be.
Now, when was
You're going to drink that and a 40?
I guess so.
It seems like a mistake.
That seems like a bad idea.
We're not in college anymore.
For one night, we are.
Yes, but we should explain for the people that don't know why that was just said. Because we've all lived together for a long time during our younger years, college days. And these 2 are the reason that, he's the reason that we know each other
I knew
all.
you first, so.
Yeah, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a there's a gust of wind on one side of the world, ruffles like a butterfly's feather. Next thing you know, there's like a hurricane on the other side.
Oh my.
Wow.
But in Puerto Rico.
I think that's
Puerto
good.
Rico. This episode may require extensive edits.
Yes. that was probably... The listeners in Puerto Rico and the Puerto Ricans in general probably did not appreciate that.
Oh, he's quoting
I'm referinceing Trump.
how Trump intentionally
Trump
said it.
And yet it's still
Rico.
not ideal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I can insert that clip there, so then it'll sound like you know what you're talking about.
I'd love to.
Then it will sound less
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
They'll know that it's a quote.
Yeah.
We are also praying for the people of Puerto Rico. We love Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico. And we also love Puerto Rico.
Because that's what I'm saying. I was talking about the theory of chaos or whatever, right?
Sure.
And then I was lapsing into political current events. I'm playing three-dimensional chess over here.
Oh man, only 3.
That's like a Star Trek reference.
What?
Three-dimensional chess.
Is it?
Yeah, like on Next Generation. They have a chessboard that's like 3D. It's not just 2D, it's also 3D.
But isn't chess kind of 3D anyway because of the pieces?
I mean, in real life.
Yeah, but no, like they're saying like the board is not just a flat surface, it's like multiple boards together, like there's 5 boards.
Wouldn't that be 4th dimensional chess?
Well, I mean, it's up. Well,
I'm unclear on how...
Like, you can't play chess except for in all 3 dimensions. You have to move the pieces on the board.
play it on the computer.
True. Back when my parents first had, like, a computer, that was one of the games available. We had, like...
Chess?
Yeah, it was like a sad, like, there was a grid, and there were dots, and then you would type in your move, and the computer would make a move against you. It was a very slow game. I think there was that... There was that, like, Minesweeper game. There was the Monopoly game. And then there was that... Did you guys ever play that game called Digger?
No. Did you guys ever have the game Ski?
No.
Yes. The one where you crashed into stuff and jumped.
And there's like a Yeti that would run out and get you. I love that game.
I remember that.
Asteroid, although I think it went by many names.
No. And I fear that we're veering into video game territory, and we should veer back towards... Weren't we going to talk about...
I can talk about video games all day, but...
I know, and that's why I'm trying to steer us into another direction.
All right, so for this episode, politics,
scary movies.
Scary movies.
I think scary movies, it's very seasonal.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I have to go to sleep before we get to the politics, I've already done the movies.
Well, what's wrong with politics, though?
Nothing, but, I do have a 4 a.m. wake-up call, so...
That's like the question in the campaign. What do you do at the 4 a.m. wake-up call?
Feed the baby.
Feed
Trump's
the
like,
baby.
I'm already awake and I've already tweeted 3 times.
Oh, no.
That's not so good.
I'm going to wait 40 minutes to tweet the conclusion to the sentence I started 40 minutes ago.
He really takes his time ending those sentences.
What did he do the other day? He went to somebody in his administration. He said, like, on Twitter, he said something like, Colonel McChrystal has nothing to... And then 40 minutes later, he's like, worry about it. He's not going anywhere. Didn't he do something like that to one of his people?
I'm sure he did. I'm sure that happened.
It escapes me who it was, but... Oh, boy, the clownery continues. Okay, so scary movies. Where do you guys want to start?
Well, let's start with backstory. I think the whole reason you and I became friends was because you worked in the...
Eigenman Library.
Yes, the library of the dorm that I lived in, and I would always go down there to rent movies.
The Eigenman Dorm Library was awesome. I met a lot of really interesting and cool people that I've kept in touch with from there. But yeah, I was always checking out movies to everybody. Surprisingly, a lot of VHS back in the day. Although we're starting to get a DVD collection too.
But yeah, VHS was totally still a thing back then.
How did we do it?
No, but I actually, I was thinking recently, I'm going to get rid of a lot of my DVDs, but I'm going to keep the VHS because some of the VHS I have are kind of weird things that maybe didn't even make it to DVD. Whereas I feel like a lot of my DVDs are just I could just watch them on Netflix or something. But some of the VHS movies, if I get rid of them, they may just be lost to the sands of time.
I would try to save it all, but
the size of the collection is too great.
You know what? I've got so many video games in Korea and stuff, and I can't find a CD case to hold them in because nobody sells them anymore. Because don't you have MP3? I'm like, yeah, but video games are not digitalized yet. And then I remember that Microsoft tried to digitalize everything on Xbox, but we revolted against them. And said, no, we want discs. We want physical copies of what we pay our hard-earned dollars for. So they made the physical discs be required still. And they were disappointed because they thought they were going into a better content delivery model, I guess. But, what's given on the internet can be taken away, right?
This is true.
when the servers go down, they're not hosting your multiplayer anymore. What do you do then?
And then you can't watch your movies that you stored in the cloud.
The cloud is bullshit.
Yeah.
That's what the corporate media doesn't want to hear.
Yeah.
All this stuff. You'll be networking your meetings in the cloud.
I try to stay out of the cloud if I can help it, honestly. I know there's certain things that are like, put it in the cloud, buddy.
No, I don't trust the cloud.
But you shouldn't trust the cloud. It's not safe.
And we had a hard time catching the terrorists, so just please upload all your crap to us directly.
Exactly.
Well, Jennifer Lawrence got her self-taken nude pictures hacked in the cloud. That's how
Stolen
they've
from the
got
cloud. The cloud is not private.
No.
I mean...
Then again, I try to never put anything on the internet that I'm not like... I guess I'd be alright if people saw this.
This episode is still in consideration.
Yes.
I think it's okay so far.
I think it's fine.
I think we're doing good.
I still think we should talk about the time that we had to hack down your door, though.
Oh.
Okay.
You took a lot of joy in that, I could tell.
Let's try to set the scene.
Alright. We'll let you do that.
Bob knows it best, I'm sure.
Alright, well, I had a lockable door in that apartment.
Yeah.
Because of a lot of things. For one thing, remember when our house got broken into and that kid was standing in your doorway?
I mean, it doesn't really matter so much why as just, you happen to have had a lockable door. I don't think that's a strange thing. I also had a lockable door.
Well, we all did, but maybe. But, like, after a party one night in college, we were all asleep. We'd probably gone to sleep about 3 a.m., and suddenly I'm woken up at 4 a.m. in my dark upstairs bedroom. There were 2 upstairs bedrooms, 2 downstairs bedrooms, and 1 middle area in the center, which was above ground, but that had the kitchen and stuff. So anyways, after this party, about 4 a.m., I'm woken up in the middle of the night. I'm still drunk and everything, but I see a small person standing in my doorway, just from like the light of the moon, basically.
And by small person, do you mean a child?
It was.
Not
I think
like
it was a
little...
kid. I think it was some little.
We know exactly who it was.
I don't think they had to break in. I think probably like the last person who left the party, and we didn't lock the door behind them or something. I think it was like kind of.
Sure, but they still like came to our door.
It's super
and randomly
sketchy.
tried to see if they could get in, and then came inside. I mean,
it was a violation. But so I wake up and this kid's in my room, like about 2 or 3 feet, maybe 1 or 2 feet in my room, and my door was definitely closed. Like, I don't know about the front door, but my door was definitely closed. So he'd opened the door. He was, that's like future psychopath serial killer behavior, like sneaking around your neighbors' places and stuff at night after a party. Maybe
or just kids. I mean, I'm not defending them because I find that deeply, deeply disturbing. It's a huge violation for people to like be in your house. But I don't necessarily think it's like a psycho thing to do. It's just kind of bored kids that don't have like limits and boundaries and.
Perhaps.
I never did that to anybody. I never snuck into somebody's residence.
I was scared as hell I'd be shot.
Yeah.
Stand in their doorway weirdly.
I didn't. I guess now. Okay, come to think of it.
Did you ever do that? I didn't do that.
No, I mean.
Ja?
Maybe once. Once or twice. No, I never did that either, of course. It's crazy. Like, we live in red states. You'll get shot if you come in somebody's, like, front lawn at night, right? It's like... So
anyway, we had a lockable door.
Some doors were lockable. I'm not sure if mine was or if I just didn't lock it.
But long story short, I locked my keys in my room and no way to get in. No way to get in.
Didn't want to call a locksmith.
No.
Expensive.
Yeah. So, Joe, you want to take it from here?
Well, anyways, we had a dilemma. I feel like the next day was either a work day or a school day for you. Because, like, there was something...
Yeah, I had to
You, like, needed to get in there.
I didn't want to be locked out of my room. Yeah.
Sure.
And again, this was kind of it had been a party night, I think. And I think there were several open alcohol containers in your room. I'm not going
to say...
It wasn't a thing where we wanted to, like, the locksmiths to come.
I wasn't going to say anybody was completely sober.
I mean, I was just saying, locksmiths are expensive. Why would you want to do that when you can find...
doors, as we later learned.
Yes, but right. At the time when we chose to hack through the door, we did not consider that the door might be more expensive than the locksmith.
So what I discovered is that a cardboard door.
It was basically cardboard.
A wood plaster door or something is like...
not that hard to get through.
Well, really, the katana is not really a slicing weapon. It's more of a hacking weapon.
Yeah.
When it comes to a door.
So anyway, Jonathan hacked a pretty sizable rectangular hole in my very, as it turns out, flimsy door.
Flimsy yet still expensive.
Very expensive. There's a great picture that we have somewhere of me holding the door, or being next to the door, and child like looking through the hole that he made.
We should possibly include.
We should. I need to dig a lot of stuff out of the archives. Tomorrow we got to dig a lot of stuff out of the archives while you're here.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of great material. I still have. We can cut this part out, but the book.
Mm-hmm.
I still have my book. Do you have your book?
I think so. Yeah. No. But yeah, it's
We can edit, but
it's in storage somewhere.
yeah, I got mine.
some
I got mine
storage.
somewhere. But anyway,
Mhm.
so yeah,
Okay.
sliced.
Slice. Goodbye. No one will ever hear this.
Kind of your own version of a scene from The Shining. You know, kind
What?
of a
Oh,
hack through the door.
oh yeah.
Yes. Here's Johnny.
Yep.
Isn't that what he said at that point?
Mm-hmm. Although I've read some really disturbing things about how Stanley Kubrick was like treating his actors on the set.
Actors or actresses?
Actresses.
Well,
I'm talking about
actors.
olive oil.
I've heard.
I am talking about Olive Oil. He was very, very mean to her.
Yeah, not nice.
She probably should have left. Like, I don't think she should have stayed and fit. I mean, she probably wanted to be in the movie and felt like she couldn't leave or whatever. But it's bad.
That's a increasing problem. That sounds like in today's world, right? Or persistent problem at least.
It's a big problem.
Bob, are you going through the archives now?
No. I was giving
No,
Ash
we
back her
should
phone because I took all the pictures she had of it.
Oh,
But yes, now I have plenty of room to take many photographs tonight.
Video even. If she needs
Oh my!
to. You know,
do we want the video?
hey, my friends that I was saying that had the previous people that had been on in a pair before you, they have a sports podcast, and the one that still does it now with his other friend does a streaming Facebook Live video while they record their podcast.
Speaking of Facebook Live, have you heard of You Now?
Yeah, but what is it?
I'm slightly confused by it, but some of the YouTubers that I follow do it. It's like,
What does it do?
I think it's basically like you're live streaming a video of yourself, but then you're also live chatting with people.
Uh-huh.
So you can like answer their chats, but like on your video or something.
Mm-hmm.
So someone can be like, hey, question mark, blah, blah, blah. And you could be like, oh, thanks for blah. Here's the answer to your question.
Uh-huh.
But some of the like most successful YouTubers do it a lot.
It's called, what is it called again?
You Now? Because you're YouTubing, but it's like happening now.
Well, I think I can stream on Facebook Live after I get over 100 subscribers.
I don't know if we want to stream on Facebook Live, though.
To be a good...
Seems like...
No,
really
YouTube
disturbing.
Live, sorry, YouTube.
YouTube Live, yeah. You Now, possibly. I don't know if it's a different thing or the same thing.
That sounds like a YouTube thing.
all right, guys.
No, You Now is a YouTube thing.
But is it by YouTube?
Yes.
Well, I think I have to have 100 subscribers to do that.
Yes, well, the people I'm talking about have like 1 million subscribers.
I have 20. Okay,
Okay.
we're working on it.
But building your
on
audience.
YouTube, I have way more on SoundCloud
Okay, well.
and
No, but
iTunes.
okay.
other
If you
places.
start
Guys.
doing my husband wife YouTubing videos, that's how we will achieve success. I have a video that has like 500 views, which is not that many, but it still feels like a lot to me.
That's more than I've had, I think.
My
I'm just
highest
saying-
one on YouTube is probably 900.
Nice. Well, then this is not even a video. That's just like the audio of what we.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Guys,
This is
we're
how we
on
ultimately
air.
try.
We're on air.
Yes.
That's okay. We can edit.
All right.
We're gonna edit.
All right, let's veer back to our topic.
Okay, let's go.
I think we should talk about scary movies because it's seasonally. Yeah, that's not gonna work as a table. Scary movies are very seasonally topical for the time of year we're in right now, and also
Can this be our Halloween episode?
yes, it should be.
Mhm.
Also.
And also, I mean, I think you and I both have a love for scary movies, and you've always kind of been maybe dragged along by us into the scary movie realm.
Bob, are you not a big scary movie guy?
Okay, but I like scary movies, but you keep telling me that the scary movies I like aren't actually scary movies.
The
Well,
only
you like,
scary
the
movie that you
Poltergeist or
claim to
something?
like is
Yeah,
Zombie.
that's a good
Okay. First of all,
Bob's getting double teamed.
I can't wait to hear why my
right.
personal taste is wrong. But go
when I
ahead.
asked you which scary movie you wanted to watch for sure for Halloween, you said Zombieland. And Zombieland is a great movie, But it's a comedy.
It's got Bill Murray.
It does. I mean, it has many things to recommend it.
But it has Woody Harrelson.
But it's not frightening. It's a comedy.
Some
kind
of the zombie
romantic comedy.
Some of the zombie kills are pretty gruesome, right?
I'll give them that. But
that was like the
they
only
have zombie
one
kill of the week.
But
remember that scene?
You guys want to talk about a good zombie film I saw recently,
Yes.
and you may or may not have seen it also?
Yes, we do.
It's a British film called The Girl with All the Gifts.
Ooh.
Have you heard of this?
No.
I've got it. We could watch it.
We shouldn't watch it right now.
No. But
You should consider it.
I tell you what, this is a very creepy concept, though, okay? So there are kids who are zombies when they can smell human, like, sweat or whatever, anything like that. But otherwise, they act like normal kids. They can be educated and everything. But if you get too close to them and they see that you're a human or something, like, they turn into a zombie and they just kill you immediately.
Oh, no. That sounds horrifying.
And so there's this girl being held at this, like, military base where they're doing kind of kindergarten experiments and stuff. And they feed them, like, I forget what they feed them. They feed them something at night or something that's alive or something. It's really scary. But anyways, this, like, base gets overrun. And so this scientist woman who's been teaching them or educating them and doing experiments on them and stuff, she has to, like, escort this one zombie girl through the wasteland with a couple friends and stuff. And there's, like, the constant threat that this girl is just going to freak out and kill everybody, right? Mm-hmm. I tell you what, it's a good movie, though. Mm-hmm. Great zombie film.
That sounds good. I mean,
What was the title again?
A good zombie movie.
The Girl with All the Gifts.
Okay.
You know what show I have not watched because to me it looks terrible?
Mm.
But strangely, my mom was telling me that she was watching it, which was really surprising because when I lived with her, like when I was in like high school and would watch zombie movies, she was always like really set against them and like she couldn't even like hear them happening from the next room, or she would be like, I'm being emotionally scarred by that. But then of course now that I like no longer live there, she's randomly watching that iZombie show.
I've heard about this. I haven't seen.
It's like a woman who's like a zombie, but somehow she's also like a doctor or something. I'm really unclear. To me, it doesn't quite look
like,
right to
we're
me.
going to have to operate on your intestines. Do we really? Yes. It's like...
Right? But my mom was telling me it's actually a good show, and I'm like, not so sure.
Mm.
But that is a zombie show that exists.
I've heard about that. I haven't seen even like previews or anything, but I'm curious about it. It sounds kind of funny.
I think it's like she's an attractive woman, but she's also has like a desire to eat brains.
Scary movies, though. We still talking about them?
Yes, we are.
Allegedly.
But we're talking about how you secretly don't love scary movies.
Alright, fine. Name a scary movie that you think is a scary movie that I don't think is a scary movie.
Huh?
I just think that like
name a scary movie that you think I'm like...
No, you like scary movies. Like you
No,
like
seriously, like what...
You like torture porn movies.
Not necessarily.
Like you loved like the Saw movies.
I only saw like the first 2 or 3.
And like Hostel, which was very good.
No pun intended.
Hostel, though, I actually really liked Hostel, but you know what?
I haven't seen Hostel.
Hostel Part 2 is even better than Hostel Part 1, and Hostel Part 1 is like pretty good.
The Godfather.
It did give me nightmares for like a really long time though. Because it's really nasty. Like in a way where it will like bother you while you're sleeping.
Okay.
But it's so good.
Yeah, that's sort of a genre of horror, I guess. I don't know. What about Scream? Let's talk about Scream a little bit. Rose McGowan's been in the news this week.
It's
big
true.
time.
It's true.
I think I first became aware of her in Scream, the first original Scream.
Me too.
And I think I've said before, I think it's a crime that she was killed off in that film. I think she could have been in Scream 2. But
oh, I love Scream 2 though. I mean, that's probably
Scream 2 was amazing as well.
Scream 2 was very good, but I think Scream 1
was almost like a perfect film.
Yeah, and I came into that at exactly the right time because I hadn't seen enough horror movies when I saw it the first time to kind of understand the genre. So to me, I was watching it as a mystery, and I really wanted Sydney to figure out who the real killer was and everything, you know?
Yeah.
It was very exciting.
Yeah. Trick question. There were 2.
Right.
They were both of us, Sydney.
Oh,
we didn't like your mother. Something, right? Whatever.
My parents are
Get me again, man.
My parents are gonna be so mad at me.
Oh my god.
Yeah. What's your favorite scary movie, Sydney?
Now, here's a fact that maybe neither of you know about me that will probably disturb you greatly.
Okay.
I was obsessed with Matthew Lillard for the longest time after that movie.
He's in Twin Peaks now.
I should probably watch that.
He's coming.
Although I think I'm past that obsession. But
Twin Peaks or Matthew Lillard?
Matthew Lillard.
Well, you know.
Who is he married to?
I don't know if he's married to anybody. No, I mean, I don't.
Skeet
I don't.
Ulrich.
No, I'm sure he could be with someone.
Who's Skeet Ulrich married
No.
to?
Billy Loomis.
No idea.
Oh my goodness gracious. Ash thinks he's like a watered down version of Johnny Depp.
No, I think the only reason
I
they
see
cast him in Scream was as an homage to the Johnny Depp character in Nightmare on Elm Street. Because he had like a very
deep
similar
cut.
look in that
It's a
movie.
very deep cut.
No, I'm not saying that like against Skeet Ulrich. I like him. I just think that he had that character, the way they kind of styled him, was like a very similar look to the Johnny Depp character.
It was the 1990s.
It was. But, I mean, Skeet Ulrich is definitely like the poor man's Johnny Depp. Like, he's not as attractive.
Speaking of the poor man's Johnny Depp, have you guys been watching Fear the Walking Dead?
Not
There's
at
one
all.
kid on there.
Not
He's
lately.
like literally. I've heard him described that way. The poor man's Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp is on my list now anyway, so...
And I don't even like the real Johnny Depp anymore. I mean, all this
No.
this
He's like
Pirates of the
abusing
Caribbean
his...
stuff has
he's
gone way
abusing
too
his
far.
wife, and it's just Johnny Depp.
Is she still married to him?
No, but, I mean...
They saved their dog from Australia. Did you
That's
see?
good. No.
Is that your defense of Johnny Depp?
And his wife.
But is she, like, possibly an Australian?
No, they were visiting Australia, and she did something illegal, like bring her dog there. And so Australia had impounded her dog.
Oh, no.
And like Johnny Depp and her both had to fly back to Australia and do like a live apology on camera. And the apology they gave was extremely cheesy. Bob, you got to edit it in later because like
Was it just like, we're sorry that we illegally flew this dog here?
yeah, no, but they were really snarky. They were like, "We're sorry that our dog was a threat to like domestic wildlife in your country. Sorry, not sorry." Demi Lovato.
Yes.
Australia is a wonderful island with a treasure trove of unique plants, animals, and people.
It has to be protected.
Australia is free of many pests and diseases that are commonplace around the world. That is why Australia has to have such strong biosecurity laws.
And Australians are just as unique, both warm and direct. When you disrespect Australian law, they will tell you firmly.
I am truly sorry that Pistol and Boo were not declared. Protecting Australia is important.
Declare everything when you enter Australia. Thanks.
But no, I mean... But no, his wife was in that movie that we watched.
Is her name
She
Amber
was-
Heard?
Yeah, she was in Magic Mike 2 that
Was-
we watched
oh,
last
was-
night.
was she
Or
the-
the night before, yeah.
Was she the?
Double XL, yes. She was the, like, love interest of Channing Tatum.
I don't know if it was love, but
Well,
you
she
wanted
was
to
the,
cheer
like-
her up.
She was the daughter of, she was the daughter of Andy McDowell. Whatever.
McDowell, very underappreciated actress. So Scream.
Yes.
I am.
An amazing film.
Yeah, we've got to Bob. We got to cut down on the extraneous. Though we got to get like the parts out where
Okay, we're not under any time limit.
yeah. But when we go way off topic, that's gonna be like.
Let's do talk about Scream, though, because it's an amazing film.
Films.
Yeah.
Films, but I mean...
2 films precisely.
Scream 1...
How many screams would you
Scream
say are
1
excellent?
Truly amazing. Scream 2, very good. Other
3?
Screams, no.
No.
Scream 3,
4?
very, very bad. Scream 4, just slightly better than Scream 3, but that's really not saying much.
They never came back to the heights of Scream 1 and Scream 2. I think we can just all agree on that.
Yes, we
Was Scream 1 and Scream 2 like Godfather 1, Godfather 2, where the second one is actually a little bit better than the first one?
No, the
I don't
first
think you
one
can
was
quite
better
say
than the
that.
second one.
A
The
little
first one
bit.
was better than the second one, but the second one was still
Amazing.
good. Yeah,
it was
very
really,
good.
really, really good.
Why did the third one and the fourth one fall off so hard?
They tried to get too deep into backstory.
And just, there was a cheapness to it. Like, there was I think both 1 and 2 had high production values. Like, those were like slick studio films.
Yeah.
Scream
I
3
think-
just
I-
felt
yeah.
cheap. Like, the acting was bad,
Well-
and the cinematography wasn't very good.
I don't remember the cinematography, but what I'll say is, whenever, like, with Scream 3, that was the one, was that the one where they got into, like, Sidney's mom's past in Hollywood and how she went out there and she got
She
abused?
went out there
Like,
and
she
then
met
there
Harvey
was, like,
Weinstein or something.
Yeah, and then she went to
something
some kind of,
wrong.
like, underground terrible things happened to her, and then she gave birth to the vindictive half brother.
I'm sorry, that was ridiculous. And frankly, whenever Hollywood gets up its own ass and they want to reset everything in Los Angeles because they're that's where we live. It'd be cool to do a movie about where we live, right? Everybody likes us.
But it's no, you really shouldn't.
Mm-hmm. Hey there, how you doing?
Special guest star?
You want to kick? You want to move around a little bit?
It's usually the captain that's the guest star.
Yeah. Speaking of which, did you turn the monitor on?
Right over there.
Okay.
Not a peep. Yeah, we're hanging out here with Esmeralda.
No, we're not.
Her name is not Esmeralda.
That's what I think it should be.
I'll let you explain that to her when she's older, okay?
Okay. It's exotic. It's like Esmeralda.
Why does the bad man call me Esmeralda?
Yeah. Emerald, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
right.
name.
You always say right, as though
Is that correct?
You do know.
Can I get a fact check?
Yeah. Fake news. Okay, they said her name was Emerald. It's totally Esmeralda. She's kicking a little bit.
No, she'd usually be asleep by now, but she's too excited about the podcast.
Yeah, we're doing a good podcast or anything, but let's talk about Scream 1.
Let's do, because I think I saw that movie at exactly the right time.
Okay.
I hadn't seen too many scary movies.
Me neither, and it was a scary movie to initiate our generation basically into the scary movies with a, basically the quintessential slasher flick, reimagined in the 1990s. Things had gotten off track in horror, we could say, before that. Mm-hmm. I went to I think I went to the Bookery. Was that the place? The Bookery down in Mitchell, Indiana.
Is that a video rental place?
Yeah, exactly, right? That was the name, right? The Bookery?
Yeah, and also they rented video games.
Yep. They also... I've got some stories about renting video games at that place, but that's another time.
Be this time.
Certain people that I hung out with back in the day, nobody on this podcast would rent video games from there. And then, when they got tired of playing one, it was time to take it back. They would scratch it and say it was damaged, and they hadn't been able to play it. And they would get another free rental.
That's so wrong.
I know it is.
Start your local business, folks.
That's really bad.
That's Lawrence County.
But Scream, I think was maybe one of the first scary movies I watched at all, and so I hadn't seen enough that I was knowing the whole, all the tropes and everything. So to me, it was all new, and it was so exciting and so scary.
It basically taught me the tropes so that I could go back and rewatch all the 70s and 80s horror movies and deal with it in the way it was meant to be dealt with, I suppose. But Scream 1. They had Randy. Right? And Randy was a guy they killed off that they desperately wished they hadn't because they brought his sister back later or something, didn't they?
Well, he was the guy that kind of was explaining everything as far as what has to happen in a horror movie and everything.
Yeah, he laid out the rules, and then in the movie, of course, it was crazy. It didn't always even follow the rules necessarily, although it often did. But Scream 1 was brilliant. Their advertising, from what I remember, their advertising heavily featured Drew Barrymore, who was very hot back then, right?
And it was just kind of, I remember the ads were just kind of that Scream mask, and then it was the sound of the phone ringing, and then the scream, and it was a huge fight in my house because my brother went to see it in the movie theater, and my mom didn't think he should go.
Okay. Yeah, it was, but Drew Barrymore didn't really even feature, right?
No, she gets killed off.
5 minutes.
But that was, wasn't that an homage to the whole Hitchcock, she's in the shower, or you think that she's the main character in Psycho, but then she gets killed off and it's really her sister.
It's been a really long time since I've seen Psycho, but yeah.
Yeah, in Psycho you think that one person's the main character, and then it turns out she's, done for, and then her sister kind of comes in and is the actual main character.
Okay.
So I think that was the idea with Drew Barrymore. You think it's about her, but then, oh man, she's just, she's gone. And then
Neve Campbell
here comes
instead.
Neve Campbell.
Watch out.
Neve Campbell has never been more appealing than in that movie, though.
Okay.
All right, but I want you guys to turn this conversation towards what you think about Kevin Williamson and the way he tells stories. because he also did Dawson's Creek.
Yes, which
And-
I watched, and I don't think either of you did, probably.
I saw like one episode, maybe one time.
I'm all about Dawson's
But
Creek.
he also did I Know You Did Last Summer.
Yes, which was also decent.
What was amazing to me was that Kevin Williamson was involved in both Screamin' and I Know What You Did Last Summer, because I thought of those very much as competing franchises at that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Scream came first, and then I Know What You Did Last Summer, and then they kind of bounced back and forth a couple
But they were
times.
totally both him. I Know What You Did Last Summer, I think, is more similar to Dawson's Creek.
You know what screenplay he also wrote?
What?
The Faculty.
And we like The Faculty.
I haven't seen that since it was in theaters, but that's definitely been on my download list.
No, The Faculty is not bad.
He
Kind of
also
aliens.
developed The Vampire Diaries.
I love The Vampire Diaries, as you know. Rob refuses to watch The Vampire Diaries with me, even though it's amazing.
I'm ashamed to admit that I might have watched the first season of The Vampire Diaries years ago, but I don't know. I was still somewhat of a fan of Ian Somerhalder or whatever.
I love him.
Songholder?
How you say it, I don't know.
However you say his name.
I thought that's how you say his name.
I don't know how to say his name, that's why I avoid saying it.
I thought I heard.
Just call him Ian. Okay.
As though we know
If I ever meet him, I'll make sure to do that.
Ian, you were great in
No, but I've loved him ever
Rules of
since...
Attraction.
Well, remember Lost?
He was good in that
Yeah,
too.
I loved him in Lost.
Was
and
he
then
in Lost?
He
I
was
didn't know that.
he
He was
died
big-
kind of
yeah,
early
he
on.
was-
He was in season
Boone?
1 and season.
He was like the
yeah.
brother of... There was like a brother and sister that were on the plane. The sister, I think, lived longer than him. But...
Okay.
No, I loved him in that, and then I loved him in Vampire Diaries. And once you realize that you're actually supposed to be rooting for him in Vampire Diaries, not the other guy, then you know that it's a great show. But, you know,
I don't know, yeah. It's
no one will watch it with me, so
I think
you will never know.
Vampire Diaries was definitely like one of those shows where characters, like last season he was the worst person who did unforgivable things, but this time we're going to redeem him, and the
And
good
you're supposed
characters
to
have
sort
to
of
work.
Well, I do think it's interesting when there's a show where someone does something really horrible, and then it's kind of like you're supposed to have forgotten about that.
Mhm.
Like, last season he totally ate someone, but this year he's, like, actually not that bad of a guy.
Yeah, this year the other guy's worse, and like our
No, there was
Stockholm Syndrome heroine here will have to ally with him.
There was a
It's
similar...
Slapdown.
I had a similar issue with Gossip Girl, which I know neither of you have watched either.
Never
but
watched it.
on Gossip Girl,
Can't say I have.
in like the first episode, the Chuck Bass
Hashtag.
character like sexually assaults someone. But then like later he becomes like the romantic hero, and we're kind of supposed to like maybe forget that happened.
Mm-hmm.
But
Let's
there has
continue
to be-
talking about movies because we have a lot to say.
We have
Mostly about She Creature.
okay, but we got to come back
She
for
Creature.
Scream 2 first.
Okay.
Yes.
Scream
Okay. Okay. Scream 2.
Okay.
Also very good, but I think
recording starts.
not as perfect as Scream 1.
Yeah, it was a little bit less even, but it was fun. I mean, they went from high school, then they went to college. I mean,
And that's
after
a
they went
hard
to Hollywood,
transition. A lot of those, like,
Well-
you loved it when it was high school, now it's college. Sometimes that's, like, not a great shift.
I think like my first week of college or two was uncomfortable, but I think after that, I settled into it. Things okay.
But no, I think Scream 2 was good, but I just think Scream 1 just was so perfect to me.
What was your favorite part of Scream 1?
Okay, I think that Neve Campbell kind of went downhill after Scream 1. Like,
Yeah.
in Scream 1, she was very cute. Like, maybe it was, like, the bangs and the ponytail. Like, she looked more girlish. I felt like she
it was
looked...
still like I feel like it was still a kind of like a what was that Dawson's Creek situation where you've got like 29-year-olds
Sure.
playing 18-year-olds.
But it
basically.
worked. In Scream 1, she had that youthful kind of exuberance to her.
So
And
did I.
between the hair, yes, but between just, the
Didn't we
years
all?
that had passed and her, like, kind of weird haircut, I just felt like she seemed in combination with being the traumatized character. And that's a problem, I think, when you have any sort of horror franchise where you have someone who keeps surviving from movie to movie.
Yeah.
They obviously, naturally, are going to become, more and more bitter from film to film and more traumatized. So, in the first movie,
What if there was a movie where they weren't though? What if there was a movie where like
It's
they
just
were
like, why are you not more
you
scared?"
still didn't get me yet.
right?
That's
That would
like
be
their
more-
whole attitude. Though.
I mean, it would be harder to understand that, but it would be more fun, maybe. Because I always felt like she gets so bitter. I mean, naturally, because, people are always trying to kill her or whatever, but, like...
This is another thing that bothers me about the Scream franchise is that they centered it on Sydney, and then it's all like, it's on the Sydney.
But Sydney's, like,
It's
so
like on
depressed by the end,
on
it's like, I don't
telephone
even want to
board.
see her anymore.
Yeah. It got dark. But, there was still a part where, I don't know, the guy in the movie theater, when he goes to the bathroom, he's like, say that again, what? Or something, and they stab him in the head. It was like, whoa,
that's the kind of thing that just, like, you have that reaction to it where it, like, hurts just to, like, think about it. You're like,
yeah. One issue I had with the Scream 2 and, like, the continued focus on Sidney Prescott is basically that, like, like in real life, like, you'll never get targeted by 2 serial killers in your whole life. You're like, it's very unlikely that you'll ever even meet one who's trying to kill you. But like Sidney Prescott's like, she's a target for 2 of them, but then like 2 people later are like, we want to target her because those guys didn't get her. And then like later it's like, well, her mom was a bitch, and so we're going to target her also.
But wasn't that always the reason? Like, I feel like that was the thesis statement of every killer that went after her, was like, your mom's awful, so we should just kill you even though your mom's already dead, so she won't be able to experience the pain of this revenge we're exacting upon her.
It got so out there by the third
okay, because Billy Loomis, and he wanted to kill her because, his mom left his dad because of, like, her mom being, like, a slut or whatever, and I don't know. Affair, blah, blah, blah.
This sounds like the kind of thing where he blows up and attacks her in the parking lot of his school. It doesn't sound like the thing where he plans this, I'm going to seduce her, and then later... like, I'm going to
date her for, like, 3 years, and then finally the revenge is going to start.
Boyfriend, and then suddenly, I'm going to team up with this other popular jock guy.
And they never really gave a good explanation for how he roped Stu into the situation. Like,
I don't remember his.
He was just kind of the bullied friend, kind of a Stockholm syndrome of like. Well, this kind of reminds me of. Did you ever see the movie Murder by Numbers?
Nope.
Okay, it's not that good, but I've watched it several times. It's very watchable. And strangely, it does have Sandra Bullock in it. But anyway.
Okay. Maybe I did see that.
But it's like Sandra Bullock is like investigating like a murder situation, and it turns out it was committed by like 2 high school guys. One of them is kind of the psycho criminal mastermind, and the other one is kind of the like guy that's along for the ride. I'm saying that's, I think, like a common thing you see in movies where there's a team of killers. It's like one is supposed to be the real bad guy, and the other is just kind of the guy that he bullies into being his sidekick or something.
There have been cases like that in real life.
It's a real thing. Like, somehow the psycho manipulates the, like, weaker friend into, like, helping them. But I just don't understand that. Because it's like, I mean, we're friends, but if you were like, hey, Ash, let's, like, murder someone, I'd be like, no.
What if they're a Republican, though?
Still no.
But see, we can keep that part because you said no.
Yes, but because the answer is no. But I'm saying, like, so that's why, even though I know this is a real thing, where, like, one person kind of manipulates their friend into going along with them in this, like, elaborate scheme.
It's a slow process, okay? Like, first we murder a Republican, and the next time it's a libertarian, okay? It's a translation.
Oh, no.
You become acclimated.
I just don't understand how you can, like, let someone, manipulate you that much so that you're just like, yeah, we could totally, like...
I think certain personalities tap into each other, and, somebody who has some latent aggression or something like that can be tapped into by certain people, right?
Yeah, but still, I don't understand how he got Stu to go along with this. But I still thought that Matthew Lillard was really hot in that movie.
He was very funny.
Like, he was funny and, like, very tall.
Yeah, well, you gotta watch, seriously, did you watch Twin Peaks 1 and 2? Because, like, 3's out now and everything. Dude, you gotta go back. Season 1's only, like, 8 episodes, and by that time you'll be fully invested for season 2.
You have the VHS of it.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
You haven't watched it?
But, I mean... I still I know it's a real thing, like, in real life, where there's, like, the killer and, like, the friend that's, like, the killer's sidekick. It's just as hard for me to, like...
There was a case, like, these 2 guys out in California. And I forget, the one guy's name was Ing, or something like that. He was Chinese.
ING?
No, Ingi.
Ingi.
I forget his last name. And the other guy was, like... No, it was... he was from Hong Kong. He was from China. But, the other guy was like a Vietnam vet who had some issues or whatever, and they like built a bunker and they murdered several people there. It was really fucked up. I want to say it was in Northern California.
But Rose McGowan we should talk about.
Yeah.
Because like you were saying, it's very sad that she got killed off in the first movie.
And yeah, well, I thought you were going to say it's very sad that Harvey Weinstein did what he did.
That's also very sad, but more of a somber topic.
Yeah, I was devastated when she got killed in the first Scream.
She was very charismatic. She was funny. She was fun. I think that she was a great counterpoint to Sydney, because Sydney is such a emotional, kind of dramatic person.
Yeah.
And she was the perfect fun best friend that's kind of makes Sydney do things that are more exciting and more fun.
Yeah.
You need that. You need the fun best friend, and she was the perfect fun best friend.
Yeah. Yeah, she was really, really hot too. But the other movie I want to mention that she was in, which was also an outstanding movie, I thought was Planet Terror. Right, the double Robert Rodriguez, Quentin Tarantino double feature, right?
Oh yes.
And she was the heroine of the Robert Rodriguez section.
Didn't her leg come off when the accident happened?
Yeah,
but then she had the machine gun leg, which was amazing.
I love the ending of that movie when they're all beating up the guy, and then they're yeah, and it was the end.
No, I love that. And didn't we saw that in the theater?
Yeah,
and
there was some
also,
guy that was screaming in the front row. Every
Yeah, it was
time.
really upsetting. But
Gwen McGowan's a good singer too.
Who?
McGowan.
Rose McGowan?
Rose McGowan. Sorry, who's Gwen McGowan?
I don't know.
Had it-
You tell me.
That's why I stopped you.
Okay, so but
I
she's a good
feel
singer.
your use of that as a table is gonna end in tears. It's
Not if he drinks it fast enough. And not if he starts this 40 anytime soon. I'm almost done.
I'm trying to
Come on.
I don't
40 is probably
the 40s. Seriously, do you want me to talk about I hate Donald Trump? Do you want a real conversation about that?
All right, fine. I'm
I'm
saying
trying-
I was coerced into buying a 40
I'm gonna
thinking
drink my 40
somebody
tomorrow.
else.
Absolutely.
Tomorrow.
Maybe.
All right, I feel one of the first times I went to a party at you guys' house, this was before I lived with you. I don't remember if it was both of you or just other people at your party that were playing Edward 40 Hands.
It was a pretty popular thing, only because it was such an extreme thing.
Yeah, it was. I don't remember if did we do two hands or we just do.
I only did one. You and Ben Smith did two hands, and you confused me with Ben Smith because you said somebody was puking into the toilet with 40s taped around his hands, gripping either side of the toilet. But it wasn't me. It was Ben Smith.
I feel like there was a picture back on early Facebook.
You guys took a picture with the pizza man because he came to the door.
Back
And
on
you both
early
had
Facebook when you could post pictures like that
40s
because
to
no
take
one's
to your
parents.
hands.
Okay, I think we should just have a sidebar and agree. Because you guys will agree with me, I think, when I make the statement that Facebook was better back when it could only be people from your own school and no one's parents was on there.
I joined Facebook originally in February of 2004.
February. I think it was
Or we
around
were
November or something.
early adopters of
We
Facebook.
were early adopters of Facebook.
Back when it was more of a private
I
thing
think,
for college students.
wired a university email,
Yes.
official.edu.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Hashtag real talk.
real
It was
talk.
a different thing back then, and as much as it's nice, because it's then your grandmother can see your photos and
I
everything. and there's,
remember when
nice
they opened it up
things
to not
about
college
that,
students, and I was like, this is a mistake.
It's
I
a
said-
mistake
I
because
said this
I knew it was a
changes the whole
mistake.
environment.
This is a betrayal. Yeah, that's what
No,
I
because
said.
it used to be a college thing, and now people who didn't even go to college have
Now,
Facebook accounts.
To be fair, if I graduated in 2003 and I couldn't get a Facebook because I lost my thing in 2004 at the beginning, I'd be mad as hell. But
yeah, but
there has to be some limit. I don't know.
I feel
Don't you get rewarded for not getting flunked out of school or
there
whatever?
was a certain feeling that you could share within the privacy of the university. Not
I'm not gonna lie.
privacy.
It's
is the
an
wrong-
arbitrary line, but it's one that really separates us from the beasts.
Yeah, we gotta maintain that distinction. I agree. I think I don't want to say it's hard to know where to draw the line, because if you're Facebook and I'd feel bad if I had graduated 2 years ago and so suddenly I couldn't be on Facebook.
But you could be on Facebook if you if you knew what your email had been or whatever.
I think it has to be current, because they
Yeah,
have
but
to
you
send
should
you
have
the
just
confirmation.
signed up for it.
But once you
while
do the
you were there.
confirmation code, I don't think
You don't have to like
check it
stay
again.
there. I mean, I don't still have my
Okay,
university email account.
Yeah, that's the thing. My university email account was destroyed by the university a couple years after I
You
graduated.
can get a .alumni account or
I
whatever.
don't know.
I think you have to like pay for that. Like you should donate
you?
to the alumni
Guys,
association.
Maybe the
or
first
something.
year was free.
You have to join the alumni association.
Okay. Facebook is what we're talking. I'm just saying. Okay. I agree that like it was better in a way.
In a
Back
way,
in
I
the
mean,
day.
and I'm guilty of like at various weak moments in my life, like encouraging people that shouldn't have been on the Facebook to like join.
We've all been there.
Yeah, me too.
Like-
I can't believe I used to leave people voicemails and be like, dude, there's this thing, it's called the Facebook, and you have to join it.
Yeah. I think I joined a group one time. For me, it's still the Facebook, right? Because
Well, no, but like funny story. Okay, so back when Facebook was like newer, remember how you used to just sort of befriend people that had the same last name as you, even if they weren't like related to you?
I never did that, but like I've seen
I
some
did that.
Johnny Fowlers and Jonathan Fowlers and stuff on there.
So I totally did that. So like, and most of those people, either I
Are
or
you talking about
they.
Stacey Cartwright?
Yeah, I am. Yes, that's where I'm going. So
Tell me
most,
about
yeah, we're going
Stacey's
there.
mom
We're going
and
there.
God.
Okay.
Love
No,
Stacey.
so what it is that there was like a thing where it was like you would just befriend like random people that had the same last name as you because it was like, oh hey, we're Cartwrights, we can connect on the Facebook because this is back when it was just students, so it felt like, oh my god, I'm meeting other Cartwrights from around the
Probably
world or
my
whatever.
third cousin or something, right?
But like they're not related to you at all. They're just like random
Well,
people, but it's like, oh
If
hey,
you go
we're
back far
both
enough.
whatever's, But so like I think at one time there was a Facebook group that was like of the Cartwrights and there was like a bunch of us and then like I befriended a couple people and over the years, either I or they, unfriended each other because like I don't actually know you, but there's like
I've only
maybe like
unfriended like
two-
one or two people in my entire time on
oh,
Facebook.
I've unfriended a lot of people.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, just make cuts. Sometimes you just see someone, you see their status update, and you're just like,
That's
you know what?
bullshit
I
will not fly
disenjoy
with me.
every time I see you updating, so I just never want to see you again.
Wow,
Cut.
that's a I don't know. It's a
Do you ever mute people, Chad?
no.
Oh man.
You
Send
never
people
filter
away.
people out of your feed?
I
The
You
only
see
way-
everything, everyone
How
who's
can you,
friends
like,
with
deal
you.
with that?
well
That's-
everything that the Facebook algorithm sends my way.
But you don't mute people's activity.
there's certain people I'm surprised that Facebook hasn't muted by now.
No, you don't actively do this.
No, but like sidebar going back to like the end of my story. So there's like a couple people that I like befriended back when it was like, hey, befriend people with your same last name.
Why not? Yeah.
That I'm still friends with, even though we clearly don't know each other and are not related. So, for example, as Rob mentioned, there is a woman living somewhere named Stacey Cartwright.
There's,
She is not related to me.
okay.
I know a
I've
lot about
never
her
met
life.
her.
Huh?
But, like, we're still
I'm
Facebook
friends with her, too.
And sometimes she likes some of my posts.
I only friended her mistakenly thinking that
She was like my cousin or something, but she wasn't because Stacey Cartwright is
Yeah, I know.
apparently an African American,
Yeah.
but the Cartwright side of my family is white.
I was
So, like,
confused, but I was
Stacey
just like,
Cartwright-
I was just like, add friend?
You got to do the ancestry.com. Have your dad do it.
Did you know that Larry David and Bernie Sanders are related
I
according to
heard that.
Ancestry?
That's awesome. And I bet like Larry feels a little bit guilty about it. It's like shit-taking impression of Bernie on SNL or whatever.
He also was related to Jewish slaveholders who fought for the Confederacy.
Oh no!
Next time Vermont's
We'll see it
flying
too.
the stars and bars, we'll know what happened,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
just getting in touch
He was
with
one
my...
of the. He was one of the like. There's only like 1,600 Jewish people
But-
that
but-
fought for
Excuse
the
me.
Confederacy,
Excuse me.
and he was one of his
Excuse me.
ancestors were one of them.
Excuse me. It's heritage, not hate, okay?
That's not how Larry David felt once he found this out.
But going back to what you were saying, so you've never like unfollowed someone because you
I
didn't want to
unfriended-
disfriend them, but
No, I'm not
No,
talking
see,
about unfriending.
you can
Don't talk about unfriending.
unfollow when you don't want to unfriend, but you just don't want to like see someone's
And they
updates
don't know it.
I don't think I've unfollowed anybody. Like, I just hope that the Facebook algorithms will take care of it eventually. If like I'm not liking or commenting on it, like I just hope that they'll take care of it.
No, but
right?
sometimes they don't take care of it because it's like a family member that posts things that you just like don't even want to see, but they just keep posting them.
People
but it's
that
like
you
can't
can't
unfriend
unfriend.
them because like
Do you understand what
you
I'm saying?
care about them as a family member. You care about them as a family member, but you actually care about them in
You
a
want
way
it-
where it's
you want it-
easier if you don't have to know
Listen.
about the horrible things about them.
There's a big scoreboard, and the scoreboard shows if you unfriend them. So this is
Wait,
a way.
where's the scoreboard?
Scoreboard
on-
is in our minds.
It's on Facebook.
Oh,
Our family can see it.
I wanna get
If you
what?
unfriend somebody in your
If
family,
you like
what?
I'm saying,
Listen.
like, for example, let's say you have, like, an aunt who's just, like, slightly racist. If you unfriend
Only
her,
slightly.
she's gonna, like, know and be personally hurt. But, like, maybe she's, like, super old, like 90, and it's, like, too late for you to, like, sway her to being, like, not so racist.
Yeah.
So, like, you figure you'll just, like, stay friends with her because she's probably gonna die soon anyway. But, but you don't want to, like, see her racist posts anyway.
are you saying this is actually true, Chad?
But you don't want to, like, have to, like, see the racist post. You can unfollow her so you no longer have to see her terrible status updates. But unlike unfriending, she won't, like, get a message that's like, Jonathan's unfriended you.
Well, you
and
don't
then
get a
she'll be like-
message, but if people search
But you, like, notice that you're no longer
if people
friends.
search you, who are your family?
Yeah.
And much agree.
Yes. They will know if you unfriend them.
Okay.
They will not
I
know
didn't-
if you just remove
If
them
you
from your
unfollow
Facebook
them, you will
feed.
still be friends, but you just won't have to see their...
Well, I'm
Facebook
not gonna,
posts.
I'm not gonna unfriend any of my family, but yeah, I definitely.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to unfriend any of my family either, even though some of them have beliefs that chafe me.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to unfriend them because you can love someone who still chafes you with their beliefs that are just totally in opposition to everything that you hold true.
I don't know.
And so
Not
the
if they
answer
cause
is
nuclear
to
war.
unfollow them. If you unfollow them, they won't know because you'll still be friends.
I like to keep
You just won't have to, like, see everything.
Well,
like an ostrich, bury your head into the sand. And just laughing.
I'm like an ostrich, my head wide up in the sky. What's going on?
But do you want to be that agitated all the time?
It's just too stressful for me sometimes because
Don't you
I'm
suffer
so-
from anxiety at
I'm
all?
so deeply disappointed when I love someone and they believe something that's just so horribly untrue and disappointing. It's really distressing to me.
I get angry with the people, I suppose, who have disappointed me with their beliefs and actions. But
Do you have empathy for them? Do you really understand how they could get that way even though you love them?
Nope.
No?
But
You don't think their
I hope they'll get
circumstance
better.
involves anything that might lead them to that conclusion?
no, frankly, I don't see much in their history or their
Profession,
past.
class, status,
I don't-
area,
I don't always see.
Nothing?
No, I don't always.
free will.
People working in the healthcare industry have done some questionable votes in the past 9 months.
Sure, but I'm saying, like, when it comes to family, you can love someone and still believe that they're very, very wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you don't, like, so you love
But
them
I-
and you don't want to unfriend them, but you still are so upset by the beliefs that they have that you're not able to, like, change.
Have you ever
just
heard
maybe
the
don't wanna,
concept
like,
of the
see
good
it.
Nazi? Like the person in Nazi Germany that like wasn't like a bad person. They just were like, oh gosh,
Yeah. Well, it's.
wow, things are happening around me. I better not rock the boat or say anything. I'm just
Yeah.
I'm a good person, but I'm just gonna go along with it.
That's
Yeah,
not
I mean,
exactly what I'm talking about.
We had Britney Spears, supporting. I think we should just support the president. Something.
Yeah,
with
but I
Bush.
mean,
that
if
was-
anyone
that
is
was a
like
long time
deciding
ago.
whether or not to support the president based on like Britney Spears' thoughts on the issue, it's like they're having like their own
That's a
problem.
bad.
I know about 14 million girls who are. Okay.
Really,
Today?
like currently though.
No, not today.
Not a lot today.
14 years ago.
Explain for the podcast listeners what She Creature is.
She Creature is a movie that everyone who thinks that mermaids are nice should watch because mermaids are actually evil, and She Creature will prove this point to you.
Well, I think anyone who understands the mermaid myth understands that they lead you towards the rocks to your death, and you
Well,
crash.
no, they
that's
lure
the-
they
that's
lure
the
you into the
harpies.
waters and then they eat you with their like sharp,
What?
sharp teeth.
Were you saying that was a different mythical creature?
Yeah, there was the harpies in the ancient Greek.
But you
ancient
don't.
Roman.
But I thought the mermaids
The mermaid-
sung and they led you towards
the mermaid
rocks.
sits on the rocks and she sings to you, and then you come with her, and then she lures you into the water where you drown, and then she eats you with her like horrifying sharp
Well,
teeth.
now
And
that's
this is why
There
the
is a
Little Mermaid
snuggie.
is terrifying.
I'm sorry, but I have to say this. There's a snuggie that's in the shape of a mermaid tail.
Mermaids are very hot right now. They're like one of the most popular mythical animals. Mermaids. It's
Yeah.
happening.
sure.
Little girls love mermaids. It's all about the Little Mermaid and like mermaid this and mermaid that.
I love
Have you
the
not
Little
seen these like there's like all these like catchphrases and like t-shirts and things that are like, I'm a mermaid, or like something
I don't
about
know
a mermaid.
about this. I honestly
It's
don't
like
know.
it's a real thing.
Okay. Well, what am I thinking about? Yeah, so
Don't
anyways.
put your phone there.
Okay.
There's like cute.
It will make the recorder.
There's like
do
cute
something
like
bad.
things like I've seen like very popular like decor for like a little girl's bedroom. You'll have a sign that says like a mermaid sleeps here.
A couple months ago in Seoul, I think like a live mermaids thing came to this like one aquarium area or something.
Ew.
Yeah, it's a little weird, like chicks swimming around like mermaids and stuff underwater, like blowing bubbles and stuff.
No, that makes me think of that's in that Jeffrey Eugenides book, Middlesex.
Okay.
The like Middlesex person works for a while as like one of those like people. They like wear a mermaid tail and like swim in the water and do like
Did you guys
acrobatics.
ever see the TV show? There was a TV show that only lasted for like 4 episodes in the like late 90s. It was called, oh God, what was it called? It was based on what was that guy who did Rum Punch?
Rum
Hunter
Punch?
S. Thompson?
No.
Oh, that's
Rum
Rum
Punch?
Diaries. Rum
No, I
Punch.
don't know what Rum Punch is.
Hold on, Jackie Brown.
Are you talking about Elmore Leonard?
Yes. He
Yes.
wrote another song. He wrote another book
Another
called
book?
Maximum
song?
Bob.
Another great song.
Maximum Bob.
Another number one hit.
He's just spitting on this track.
What was it called?
Maximum Bob.
Maximum Bob.
And he was like a judge in Florida who got the nickname Maximum Bob because he always gave people the maximum sentence.
Ash, do you have any more milk?
It's coming in. It's time.
She just made a mouse sound.
Okay, well, just give me like a few minutes.
It's
We
not
just
me.
have to replenish.
It's her.
Well, she drank it all earlier, so.
She's like,
Okay, well, hopefully if she waits a few minutes, the milk will be there, and then she can like.
it's probably why
sleep
she's
after.
awake right now.
No, it's not why she's awake right now. She's awake because she got excited about being on the podcast.
Real talk.
One of our children is always a guest host, whether I like it or not.
Hashtag I'm with her.
Yes.
She's like, what happened?
Oh my god, you guys.
That was pretty good, right?
That was
That's
good. You
bad.
can't take that part out.
I won't.
You gotta leave that
That
part
was a
out.
good one. That was a good crack. Wise crack. I have a daughter, by the way, because that wasn't for the audience.
I'm horrified by this episode.
It's going so well and also so badly. We need to talk more about She Creature and less about politics.
All right, but I was saying that tomorrow night we need to watch Sea Creature.
And I was saying that we watched one movie with you the other night,
Yeah.
and we might have time to
We also
watch
watched 60
another
Days
movie
in Jail,
with
which
you
I
before
would
you
take
go.
back in a second.
I'm trying to say, is She Creature really the movie we want to watch? If that's like the one last movie we can
Let's-
watch with you in like the next like
Is that
3
the same?
years?
Where's
What?
the movies at?
No, we can't watch it right now. We need
But
to.
I'm saying
record
like
it.
later. I'm saying like
Later,
Are you
but
asking
not
where
like
hard drive
tonight.
is?
but, like-
yeah.
It's right there.
Just like set it up. or
Yeah,
something
no, I
at
just
some
think
point.
that like possibly we can do better than She Creature for like our one last
She
movie to
Creature
watch
is
together
a
for like
very
years.
highly specific. Hey, I tell you what.
I'm still traumatized by the one and only first time that I watched She Creature with you. That
I
was
think I, like,
horrifying.
watched it once or twice. Yeah, it was fucked up.
It
Like,
was.
I mean,
It was just.
mermaids-
But it confirms everything I've always said about how evil mermaids are.
Well, it's true. I made it for like when I'm teaching in Korea and stuff. I made a handout for the children about mermaids and about the history of mermaids and what like kind of like because Korea has mythical beasts and creatures too, like the gumiho, which means nine-tailed fox.
Egads.
And a nine-tailed fox is basically a woman's ghost who turns into a fox, and then like she turns into a human, beautiful woman, but she has 9 tails. Okay, and she seduces a man, but when she seduces him, she kills him and eats his liver. And she eats 1,000 livers, she can become a beautiful woman again.
Just like, and she'll be like alive again. And
Yeah,
But
she'll-
1,000 is like a lot though.
She's pretty hot though.
Still, that's like a lot.
Yeah, you
It
know,
could still take a
couple
long
weeks
time.
in home day.
But, so were the children traumatized?
Well, I mean, they were surprised because they thought like they know the Little Mermaid. The
And so
Mermaid
they thought
Princess and
mermaids
stuff.
were nice, which is a lie.
Yeah,
Mermaids
Like, I
are
mean,
not nice at all.
There were stories in ancient Britain about mermaids singing from the
They sing
river.
from the rocks and then
Well,
they lure you to your death.
No, but not for sailors in the
There's
river.
a lot of rocks in the
river. There was a man who thought he saw a beautiful woman drowning in the river. So he walks over to the river, and then when he comes closer, she kind of tries to grab for him or something, and so he runs away. And his friend has warned him, "Don't go close to her. She's not a person," or something like that. And then after he lunges away, she can't get him anymore, and she says, "I'm a mermaid, and I would have dragged you to your death over here, but you got away."
Hashtag mermaids are the worst.
They're dangerous. Let's just keep it real.
Yeah.
I mean, Ariel's sisters were thrilled when like dead sailors were floating down and stuff. Like, right? This is some freaky stuff. I always thought that the blonde sister with I think the red bra was hotter than Ariel. When I was a kid,
that was very specific.
When I was a kid, that was a thing.
Can anyone in the audience make a meme out of that? Go.
Real talk. When I was a kid, I was like, God. But her sister needs a bigger part.
Wow.
Make podcast, bitch.
Hashtag best podcast ever.
I haven't had a better one.
You guys listen to that song like Three Birds or something?
Three Little Birds?
Yeah.
You mean like the Bob Marley song, the classic? You need to play that now and cut that into the episode.
I will.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But don't get us demonetized though.
Won't, because I won't do it on YouTube.
Okay.
I'll have a YouTube and a non-YouTube version.
Or, didn't you tell me that you could just like tone it up or tone it down and then you can like not...
Yeah, but that's like, no, not tone it up, speed it up, or slow it down.
No, because I showed you that video and you said that they had like...
They had pitched it up, but that means it goes by faster.
But like, I honestly didn't notice because I have...
I noticed.
But I didn't notice those songs sounded regular to me.
Don't worry about the thing.
It did not sound like that.
I don't know what's going on anymore.
Okay, so I watch all these YouTube videos and like, I've like been thinking about making some videos myself. Like I've made a few, but I want to make some more. But I need music to do it. And I was trying to show...
an unsigned artist that...
But what I was saying is that some of the very popular YouTubers that I watch use
facsimiles. It's
facsimiles, but I'm saying that me, a person that like doesn't have a very good ear, those songs sound normal to me.
Do you think your audience is like you?
No, but like at the same time, I mean, no one thinks that they are as crazy as anyone else thinks that they are. Like I think that, like, to me, like, what I hear sounds normal to me, so I'm like, this is normal. Well,
that's all any of us can do.
Right?
You guys might be speaking gibberish. I don't know.
No.
Well, okay, so She Creature.
She Creature is so traumatizing, I never need to see it again, because
that one guy has like slow eye.
I'm already fully convinced that mermaids are evil.
Yeah. Okay.
But you told me that you have never seen Hocus Pocus.
I haven't seen it.
Wow.
And, okay, Hocus Pocus is, like, not good.
Hocus
but
Pocus
it is like
a scarring movie.
It is like the quintessential like Halloween movie of our times, and like especially of like
every woman your age. Loves
every woman of our age loves this movie. Like this is like you should watch this because like women will like you more when you tell them.
This is the official movie of 1984. BTW.
Yes.
Am I wrong?
There are Hocus Pocus drinking games.
I'm guaranteed there are. I just drank through the whole thing till I forget I watched Hocus Pocus.
Oh, snap.
No, Hocus Pocus is a real thing. It's really happening.
It's
like,
a terrible
you guys should
movie.
get them. No, but no one will watch it with me, and it's so sad. Because maybe I should get more like female friends. I don't know.
Okay.
Wait, just to watch Hocus Pocus with you? That seems like a Winnie's one-sided friendship they're at.
Yes.
Hold on. Like, looks like Ireland just got hit by a hurricane.
Yeah.
Ireland?
That's not normal.
Pretty much.
Is the whole world actually? Do we just not know yet that we're in fact living in
climate change is a Chinese hoax? Okay.
I'm just saying, Northern California is burning up. There were all these horrible hurricanes, and then there was like an earthquake.
I think God's just punishing us for voting for Trump.
I'd do it.
Fair enough.
A member of Pussy Riot is dating somebody on the far right.
Oh, that's upsetting.
The whole like dating the far right thing, it's all about, we've talked about this before, how people get so far left that they swing around and start holding hands with the far right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very dark area where the two areas finally meet.
You guys want to talk about K-pop?
Sure. I mean, I know nothing about K-pop, but I'm excited to hear about it.
Welcome to your education. Okay, we're going to start with Big Bang, Majimakitsa. This means the final goodbye. This is one of the first songs that was hugely popular 10 years ago when I got there.
I'm going to have to edit this out too.
Legal reasons.
Well, then let's not talk about it if you're going to have to edit it out. Let's talk more about movies that we can include in the podcast. We need some material that you can actually publish. Well, I mean, on the topic of horror movies, is there anything we haven't covered that's, like, important?
Rob Zombie.
Yes, we should talk about that.
Do you think he's a good director?
He is now.
He is now?
Yeah.
He wasn't then?
You're saying, is Rob Zombie a director?
A good director.
Oh, well, good. I don't know, good. He's made some memorable and significant pieces that were not bad.
He apparently owns every horror movie that's ever been made.
Yeah, so I mean, I think he is an example of a super fan who then had enough money and, you know, maybe connections. They then were able to bridge the gap between being super fan to then, like, making something.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, in the case of the Halloween movies, remaking something.
But you said that his direction of the Halloween movies was inspired.
To a certain extent, yes.
Especially as it related to a rendition of the song Love Hurts.
I thought that was very, like, I thought his use of the song Love Hurts in the first Halloween movie was, well, maybe, like, overarchingly flawed. It worked in the film.
Why was it flawed?
There were a lot of problems. I mean, it implied so much about the character of Michael Myers, whereas in the original Halloween movies, we don't know anything about Mike Myers. We just know that he was, like, a small child that was, like, murderous. Whereas Rob Zombie made his own attempt to kind of build a backstory about how, you know, he had, like, a troubled, you know, unsettling life, and then he was, like, murdery. Which I think was good and bad. I think it was good in the sense that he tried to give us a backstory where the original Halloween movie didn't. And of course you wonder, you know, what's the backstory here? Yeah. But bad in the sense that I think maybe Mike Myers is scarier if he's, like, a normal little boy from, like, a normal happy family that just one day decides to murder. It's sort of less scary if it's like, oh, he was, like, a tween and, like, he had an unhappy life and his stepdad was, like, kind of, like, abusive physically and his mom was, like, a stripper and he felt bad about that and then he was, like, murder. That's a little bit less, even though it's, like, good because it gives us an explanation, which, of course, we want to know more. We want to know more about who Mike Myers is. It's bad because it's, like, that seems like kind of a weak, obvious explanation. It's more creepy.
And it plays into Rob Zombie's predilections, right?
Yes.
Which basically is like zombie strippers.
Yes, which is really it's all just an excuse to have his wife be stripping and then be murdered.
Yeah.
But
she's in a lot of his movies.
But I think ultimately it's scarier if it's just like a happy family and a normal little boy who murders, rather than being like a teenager that's like sad because his mom's like a stripper and his dad like hits him or something and then he's like murdering.
I think it's like his stepdad or something, but yeah, like, I mean, I don't know. I think there's two types of serial killers: the ones who swear their parents never did anything wrong, and there's the ones whose like parents were doing other things. But we talked earlier a little bit about like Rob Zombie as a director and stuff, and talking about his whole oeuvre.
But what we were talking about while you were in the bathroom was, do you remember in that first Halloween movie when they play that Love Hurts song?
Mm-hmm.
When like the mom can't take him trick-or-treating because she has to go, like, dance on the pole or whatever. I thought that song, even though I think the whole story arc that they were building on was ultimately flawed, as I've just discussed, I thought that song was masterfully used. Perfect timing for, like, how it was cut with, like, scenes.
The saving grace for me of the Halloween series has always been the use of music. Because, he's like...
This is another movie that Rob refused to watch with me, so...
Wow. Yeah, the original Halloween,
that with me.
They used Blue Oyster Cult's Don't Fear the Reaper masterfully. Like, perfectly. Like, if I heard that song, I would have thought, this should be like a 1970s serial killer flick. And it basically was with the original Halloween. Like, the babysitter's driving to the house, and, like, that song is playing on the radio.
Right, and it's like, maybe
that's
we
like,
take
this
as a warning
is
sign,
so
because we're not gonna go
1970s.
so well.
Right, it's perfect.
Well, it's a very popular song.
It was well used in that movie. And I think, like, that's the thing that separates a good movie from a great movie is the soundtrack sometimes, you got to know when to play that track a certain way, right?
Yes.
So
Play that.
But, like, unsurprisingly, Rob Zombie, a musician coming into the situation, knew how to well use music.
Real talk. Yeah. No.
After that, I think Sting spiraled out of control, though.
Well, I mean, like, Halloween's going to go a certain way. I think, like, I felt like he, like, he tried to make, like, the killer a little bit too much like himself. He's like, he's got long hair, like me, like Rob Zombie. Like, this is me, It's kind of like...
Yeah, it's like, no, dude, it's
okay,
not you.
Yeah, he likes heavy rock, and he, I don't know. Yeah, but, I mean, he didn't do a bad job.
No, he
did
didn't.
not
He
do
really
a bad...
didn't.
He didn't do a bad job, in a way. In a manner of speaking, but...
I guess the girl that, like, Scout, Taylor, whatever, that girl from those movies, like, kind of went crazy and, like, ran away from home or something.
In real life?
In real life.
Before or after the movies?
After, maybe?
Wow.
The girl that played the...
Once you meet Jackie Tree,
the Jamie Lee Curtis character.
Who? Where?
The girl from the Rob Zombie movies that
What was
played...
her name?
It's like Scout Taylor Compton or something like that.
Went crazy?
I don't know if she went crazy or she just, like, had, like, a personal breakdown or, like, she wasn't... she ran away from home and was, like, not doing so well and, like, I don't know. And then she wasn't in any more movies, so I assume things aren't going great for her.
Well...
Maybe they're going better than ever.
Better than ever. Okay.
All right. So, what Ash, we were slated also to talk a little bit about the Devil's Rejects and what was the other one? The House of a Thousand Corpses.
I think House of a Thousand Corpses might have come before Devil's Rejects.
That's probably true.
Or wait, I can't actually remember which of those is first.
That sounds right.
One comes before the other because it's like...
I think House of a Thousand Corpses
came
was the
first because they escaped from the House of a Thousand Corpses, and then as they're driving away, the people driving away are the Devil's Rejects. Because they're the rejects from the House of a Thousand Corpses.
I don't remember the
That's how I saw it.
I just mean, like, I remember scenes of extraordinary violence.
I think, like, some people, and this is in the vaguest terms, but also it's, like, kind of only sort of remember this. I think, like, some people accidentally go to the House of a Thousand Corpses. And it's, like, very scary. Right? No, because, well, maybe they all die, but, like, some of the corpses that escape. Corpses, I'm saying, and they're not really corpses, they're people, but, like, they're weird.
We would almost have to rewatch them.
But we're not going to. So we're gonna have to, like, we're just gonna have to imagine what happens.
We could, like, make it like an international movie club. You ever think about that? Like
you wouldn't watch House of a Thousand Corpses.
It's a fucked up horror movie, no doubt. And Rob Zombie, as we talked about, has got his issues with women. It's a problem.
He does. Maybe not a good person.
It's not a secret. Real talk. But yeah. But he's a director. He's not a perfect director, but he does his thing, and it often works out to the degree that he wants it to work out. I think.
Yeah, like it's not as bad as it could be. I've seen many worse horror movies.
A fun guy from the House of a Thousand Corpses does, like, engagements where he goes to, like, horror conventions and, like, signs autographs for, like, $20 a pop.
Yeah,
it's, like, not surprising.
The Juggalos are trying to tell everybody they're not a terrorist organization. Also,
one of my guests on the podcast, Nathan Rabin, spoke at the Juggalo March in Washington.
Wow.
Oh wow.
spoke Fago to power.
His argument is that in child custody cases, it is significant that the FBI considers juggalos a...
This is a common concern for juggalos.
It is.
Real talk.
Civil rights issue for juggalos.
Now, are you talking about the people that are like in the ICP, or like how does this relate?
They're not in the band itself.
They're just fans.
They're just wearing the makeup.
They're just juggalos. You grew up
Why
in
are
Mitchell.
they-
Stop
okay, but
acting like you don't know who I'm
Explain to
talking
me, though,
about.
why are they called juggalos?
It's their self-designation. Well,
But
no,
why-
I was
what-
with a good friend named Jonathan Wilcox.
That's where I
Is
heard
this
the
like
juggalos too.
But is juggalo
Who's
question?
going chicken
Okay,
hunting? We's going
as a
chicken
person
hunting. It's a
who's
simple
coming
thing.
into this not with a lot of information, I have some questions. Okay,
Santa Claus is a fat bitch.
is
Yeah.
That was
juggalo
also a song.
a combination of like juggling like a clown would do and gigolo like a male prostitute?
I never thought of it that way, but
That's the
entirely
only thought that
plausible.
I've had.
You're right.
You could be wrong.
But that's where my mind goes, not really having any prior information to like the situation here.
You could be correct. I'm not gonna say you're not.
I'm just saying.
I
have
haven't thought
some
about
valid
that deeply.
Well, if that's not true, explain to me what is the etymology of the name Juggalo?
That's a question for another.
Would you say that's a question for
Bob,
the sages
get-
to ponder for the ages?
Get Tila Tequila on the podcast.
Why?
Speaking though
Find out
of
what a
horrifying
Juggalo is.
clowns, none of us have seen the new It movie, have we?
No.
I want to see it, but like I'm also
wanna see
scared
it
to see it.
too.
You know, this is another thing for that podcast we're ostensibly doing about the scary movies, which is that because I live by myself in Korea, I often opt not to watch the latest horror movies. Even
It's
if I
like
hear they're very good.
you're like too
It's
afraid.
pretty
is what you're
intense. It's
saying.
pretty intense. Like I watched a movie. We watched Ju-on the Grudge. And
That's the newest Grudge movie, right?
newest. I don't know. It was like 2004.
Now, how closely is this like tied to the original movies, or is it just like a new Grudge against like new people?
I don't know. It didn't have Buffy the Vampire Slayer in it though.
Well, then that's all I need to know. I'm not watching it.
Okay, but no, it was the original Japanese. But she said at a certain point the movie got too scary. She said, "Creepy. Oh, it's too creepo." And creepo was a new word invented. Then the movie was too creepo to watch.
But I think that It movie is kind of like the new hotness in like the horror, situation. Film.
It's earned a lot of money in a very short time.
Many people have spoken about seeing it on Facebook.
I'm gonna see Blade Runner 2049, and then at some point I'll see it.
I've never seen any Blade Runner.
Really? The original is like a classic, man.
I enjoyed it a lot. We watched it for one of my film classes, so like I got to see it on the big screen, which really
You made me
made a
watch
difference.
2001: A Space Odyssey for my film class.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was fun too. It was like they spent
Okay.
20 minutes on the great apes though.
Yeah, it's like, he throws a bone in the air and it's a spaceship. I get it.
That was pretty wild though, because like that was the part that made you think like, wow, we came from this to this,
And Hal's like, you may not open the pod bay doors.
I
And
haven't
then
seen
suddenly
it.
you're in
I'm
like
sorry,
that weird
Dave, I
warped
can't do
ending
that.
part that was like
Mhm.
a horrible nightmare.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie in the completion yet, but I've watched half of it. I didn't
Well,
see
you should
how it
probably
was.
finish the rest.
Which half?
The first.
You didn't even see the album.
No, not
That
yet. It was a
was
slow
pretty bad.
movie. I
It
watched.
was, though.
I've got the Russian version of Solaris. If you guys want to check that out, sometime.
I've already seen one version of Solaris, so that was enough for me.
No, it was such a good movie. I love the one with.
I remember you liking that movie a lot, but I don't know. I was like,
I like it.
I
Watch
like
the George Clooney one.
George
it wasn't,
Clooney and what's
it
that
wasn't
woman's name?
terrible, but it just wasn't like.
No,
Something I
the
need to, like,
soundtrack was
rewatch.
outstanding.
Have you seen Moon?
Yeah, it was okay. It was alright. But Sam Rockwell, who was that?
Oh, we liked that, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
I
He had,
sort of
like-
forgotten about it though.
He had like Korean writing on the company's name or something. It was like Saudong, which means like love or something. Or I forget what the company's name was. A Korean name, anyways.
I don't know.
I think we recently saw a very disappointing space travel movie. What was that one, Life? With like Jake Gyllenhaal and who else
I
was in that?
I had the option to watch that on the plane ride over here, but I didn't.
It was
end
like
up
not so
seeing
good.
it.
Why?
Yeah,
Yeah, that one. You remember that one where they find like the dirt that grows into like a small alien, but then it like eats the guy and it gets to be like a bigger alien and then it like destroys their whole ship and then they're like sad.
Yeah, we got to float in space for eternity.
Like a few weeks ago.
Oh man,
You don't remember this?
Yeah,
I promise you remember this. It had Jake Gyllenhaal and like some other people in it.
Jake Gyllenhaal. Who else was in it?
Like someone else that was like recognizable.
was Samuel
like-
Jackson in that or no?
No, was it like Josh Brolin or something? No, it
Is this
wasn't.
where they built the tree inside the...
No, you're
Pretty
thinking
sure.
of Passengers. That's where they made the
Real
tree inside
talk.
the spaceship.
Passengers. I saw that with my Chinese girlfriend. Yeah,
That was traumatizing.
it was sad. It was a decent movie. I liked the concept though. The concept was all it was about, and like
He did space murder her though, and she should not have forgiven him.
how-
Although she was basically raped forever by like having to forgive him so that she could like live with him because like that was her best option.
it's like
once
Harvey
it was
Weinstein
like too
in
late.
space.
Oh, no.
I'm just saying, like, yeah, she forgave him, but only because that was like the only best option available to her after he like space murdered her by like waking her up when he like wasn't supposed to.
She gets to live a complete life, just not where she paid to live.
She was going for a stupid reason anyway. I say that as a journalist.
Her reason for going was
What was the
really
reason?
stupid.
What was the
She
reason?
wanted, her whole stupid reason for going was that she was like going to go and be the first journalist to go and come back and then write about it.
It's
and like,
really depressing when your
it's
whole
like
family's
you've
dead.
like, yeah, your whole family's dead, all your friends. Like she had like a sad video she
The
watched
reason
of all
it
her
was
friends being like, goodbye,
exclusive for her.
Goodbye. But
Is
it's
it
like,
exclusive.
no one you know is
No one else is going to do this.
no one you know is going to be like alive when you come back.
Yeah.
So like, do you not like any of your friends or family? Like,
Yeah, it was fucked up. But
I still think he space murdered her, and the fact that she had to
I still
forgive
think I
him
would have
was
done it like 6 months earlier. Real talk.
No. No.
Ash, seriously, you're going to stay on the spaceship your whole
By
life
yourself?
for 90 years until you die? You don't know. If you fall asleep in your own vomit, you're going to die because there's nobody
They're
else
perfectly
there.
good people refrigerating all around
Yeah, but he still shouldn't have like space murdered her / space sexual assault because I mean she only is going to be in a relationship with him obviously because it's her best choice. I mean she doesn't want to be like alone for the rest of her life.
What
so
if she
she
got
has
to the
to, like-
future and realized there was the perfect guy it could have been?
I mean luckily it was Chris Pratt, but like
Well, see what I'm saying?
Oh, shit.
still unfair that he like forced her into a situation where she had to like make that.
Unfair or very
Okay.
fortunate.
Okay, but
Can it be both?
Ash, let's keep it real though. He waited for like a year or two. I mean,
Yeah, but just for a year or two while he like wrestled
really
with his own
excited.
like slight qualms about.
I'm saying if there's
The
a
only
hot
reason he
chicken
waited for a
free
year or two is because you know what she should have done.
What?
This would have been very wrong, so she probably shouldn't have really done this.
Put him back in the space pod?
She should have just like siphoned him out into space or whatever, and then woken up somebody else, someone hotter even, and then just not ever told them that she had space murdered them, so they would actually think that they woke up by accident and then be with her and be happy forever.
Is this feminism?
No, because
don't tell her what she
it would
can't
be
do.
immoral for her to do that. So, you know,
It
no.
was just as immoral for a man. He feels the right to do that.
Yeah, but I'm saying she was more moral, so she couldn't do it because she knows what it's like to be perpetrated against, and therefore she cannot perpetrate against others. Meanwhile, he's like, well, it's too bad that I space murdered you, but I guess it worked out okay.
You're assuming a lot about her.
No, I'm just saying.
She was
know a
not
lot
in the
about her.
situation that you're describing. If she was in the situation you're describing, maybe she would have made a different choice.
No, I'm saying she could have chosen.
You're really going to
murder
live your
her.
entire life alone when you could just pull the lever at any time?
No, I'm saying she could have decided to murder Chris Pratt and wake up somebody else. That's what I'm saying.
That would require her to murder.
Yeah, but I mean, that's
You
why
think
I'm
it would be
saying she's more
justifiable
moral than Chris
homicide?
Pratt is, because he murdered, she did not.
Well, I mean,
Do you think it's fair the fact that he murdered her and then she murders him?
Okay,
No.
let's slow down on our
I think it's
definitions here a little bit.
unfair.
He didn't murder anybody. He just woke somebody up into a life before they were expected to be woken up.
But he deprived her of the chance to get to know anyone but him.
They could have woken up more people if she wanted, probably.
Yeah, but that would just be like that would just be like committing crimes against more people.
All this moral relativism is driving me crazy.
My vacation was already ruined.
Let's assume that she is a moral person. She can't wake up anybody else because that would be wrong.
Yeah, but that one guy woke up, like the guy, like the captain or whatever.
How do you know the life they would have had?
Yeah, but then
would
he
have
was
been,
like, die.
How do you know the life they would have had when they got to the planet would have been better than what they would
But
have
it was the life
experienced on
that
the
they
ship?
had
Maybe
signed up
the
for.
ship
Should've been
is
like the
much
Martian.
better.
But
You're assuming that the planet is great.
no, I'm assuming
Yes, you are.
they
You
decided
can't say this is better or
I've
worse.
played
I'm
Mass
saying
Effect Andromeda,
choice.
and I know that the planet is not always great.
No, I'm saying choice. Whether the planet is great or not, they had made the choice to go to the planet. They didn't make the choice to live their whole life on a spaceship.
Okay, but listen. You say the word killed, and you're also assuming that the world ahead is better than the world of present.
Well, but Ash, like
You don't know that.
Ash, I want to know, just like, what would you do though? You've been away for 1 or 2 or 3 years.
Are you saying I'm Chris Pratt in this situation?
Pretty much. Well,
Yeah.
no, you're Ash Burgess, but this is the
But also
situation.
Chris
You've been
Pratt.
away for 3 years, and there's not a single
Apparently, Rob
person.
Burgess is nowhere near.
Yeah, apparently.
He's still, Rob Burgess is in cryo. Do you push the button
Well, I hope you would put the button for me.
to wake you up?
So you
don't wanna
want
see
me
the
to wake
planet?
you up on the ship?
Do you want me to wake up and have you be dead for 100 years?
I guess that's the question. Would you rather
Real
wake up
talk.
at the time that you planned and
Why
get
did
to
you
live
get
on the
married
new
then?
planet? No, I'm just. Let me ask the whole question, then you can answer.
I signed up to spend my life with you.
Here are your 2 questions. Okay, so you would rather spend your life with me on the spaceship than your life without me on the
You
planet?
know how devastating it would be to wake up and find out you've been dead for a long time?
That would be really upsetting.
She had
Not just like a little bit
But
of
she
time,
got
like a
grand-
long time, like nobody remembers you.
She has a grandchild with Chris Pratt. I'm just
Ew.
It doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about.
It's a ridiculous premise.
But okay.
You want to spend your life alone and have me be alive
This is not
hundreds of
this-
years later.
But
When
this
I'm on a theoretical planet that's good or bad.
No, but this is not the same question because, of course, I would wake you up, but you've already, chosen to be married to me and live your life with me, which supersedes your choice to live on the planet. So, obviously, I would assume you want to live with me, so we live together on the spaceship. That's totally different than, if I've never met you before and I just, see you asleep in your pod and think that you're, attractive and then decide to, wake you up.
She's hot.
That's totally different.
Chad, you're a single man, weigh in on this.
I think, with your spouse, it's a no-brainer. You got to wake them up. I mean,
But
it's a
that's
sad
different because
story.
they have chosen to be with you, so of course they want you to wake them up.
Even with your
Unless you
girlfriend.
hate your spouse, there's really no reason to do it.
Yeah, but I'm saying
You just have to
I
wake
think-
them up.
you have the right to assume that your spouse.
Every
wants
day
to
you
be
waste
with
not waking them up is a fight you're gonna have after
You
you
don't
woke them
have the
up.
right to assume that a hot stranger wants to be woken up to be
Yeah.
with you.
Oh, don't include that. Well, seriously, this episode. You made 20-minute bits.
I think the whole discussion of the movie Passengers should be included. I think this has been
What is
the
Passengers?
movie we've been talking about.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. Just ratting out lady.
How's that variety pack?
It was a controversial movie. It's,
It was one of those movies that is in previews styled as a romantic comedy.
Mhm.
Or not comedy, but romantic drama, I guess. Although, here's what I want to talk about. Did you not think that the whole relationship between the passengers and the bartender was an homage to The Shining?
I
The
guess I
whole
could see
bar
that.
and the bartender seemed exactly like the whole Shining situation.
Yeah, but he was a robot. In The Shining, it was like a ghost or something.
Yeah, but it felt very similar.
Still inhuman.
Yeah.
It's an inhuman bartender that's then, quietly pushing the humans to, do certain things that move the plot along.
Yeah.
In, an eerily nice yet deserted bar scenario.
It was a creepy moment. Yeah, definitely. You don't be the only guy drinking at a bar talking to a robot in the middle of space, billions of light years from anywhere.
Although the robot did totally betray him eventually, so.
Yeah, well, he had it coming, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, but that raises more questions, because did the robot betray him by accident? Because robots just can't know, what to say and what not to say? Or did the robot betray him on purpose because the robot had some sort of moral compass and secretly
I thought the robot was
tell
programmed
her?
one. You have to protect one customer from another customer. Probably.
Because the robot totally told that girl, you
Yeah.
know, that he space murdered her.
I'm reading
So-
Starship Troopers.
How is that?
Robert A. Heinlein.
Yeah, I'm like.
Is he like, and
85%.
also I have something exciting to tell you about. It's called Scientology.
I listened to the audiobook of that once.
Have I called you Bob a lot on the podcast?
All the time.
Probably. Like, it's like, I always give people names.
The first time you try to be like, hey, Rob. And then, like, every other time you're like, Bob.
Bob. Hold on a second. Donald Trump's an asshole, okay? First understand this.
No, but like before I met you, he'd always talked about you as Bob.
I always just call
A
him
much
Bob.
less attractive name.
Rob or Bob?
Bob. I feel like Bob is much less attractive than Rob. Maybe just it's a generational thing. Like, I feel like Bob is like a dad and Rob is like someone of our like
Bob is a
contemporary.
dad.
Yes, but I'm saying
2
like
times over.
our contemporary versus like someone older than us.
Okay. I don't know. I think, like, I've never had, like, Bob is a common name, but I've never known many people named Bob, actually.
Because they're all like older than us.
But so are the Robs. Rob is a crime.
It's true. It's like you're stealing something.
Massive edits.
No, but it's a fine name and obviously very popular. So many
Yeah,
many
you've seen so
people,
many good things about it.
many people have endorsed it.
A lot of people are saying.
Yeah, everybody's talking about it. Well, that's a good name.
What else do we want to talk about, Ash?
Well, I mean, do we want to try to like go like still on theme with the scary movies, or have we drifted too far? Because we're talking about Passengers,
Okay.
and now where do we
Is
go?
that
from
scary
there?
Sci-fi.
It's not really scary, but it's a space.
There's a very good,
Final
there's a
Frontier.
very good scary sci-fi game called
Oh no, Ash is
Dead Space.
thinking.
No,
Dead Space. It's
Yeah.
an amazing game. You wouldn't believe it.
I believe you.
It's kind of
I
like,
believe you because I will never be playing this, so I'm just gonna take your word for it.
okay, so you're a guy.
Ash wants to talk
You're a
about
space-
movies.
You're like a space, what can we say? Like an electrician or sort of, you're kind of like a construction worker in space. And your girlfriend is off on some distant, like, space station.
Okay.
But the space station goes dead, and you're sent to help repair the communication equipment. But when you get closer, you find out that everybody on the station went crazy and died,
Oh no,
including your girlfriend, it seems like.
that's stupid.
She
How
might,
unfortunate.
although she might still be alive somewhere on the station. Okay, so you go on the station with your like your electrician gears, and you've got to
Electurian gears. Is
Whatever
that
you-
like an official term
like-
for the tools of an
in this
electrician?
game, your weapons are a bunch of like construction equipment, basically
Okay.
in space.
Okay.
You're going through this whole spaceship where like these dead people are coming back with like sharp bone spikes growing out of their arms and legs and stuff like that. They're attacking you and
So
stuff.
they're
in
like
the space.
mutants.
Pretty much, they're ghost mutants basically. And and you're going through there like, and you learn pretty quickly in the game that shooting them in the center torso area is not the best way to stop them. It's to cut off the limb so they can't climb toward you as fast. It's fucking freaky. But you keep finding videos from your ex-girlfriend, your dead girlfriend or whatever, and then finally you get attacked
Wait, is
by
she your ex-girlfriend or your dead girlfriend? Because
she's your
there's a huge difference
dead girlfriend,
there.
basically. But she
Isn't your
But
dead
you
girlfriend your
were like
ex-girlfriend?
widowed. Well, had you broken up before she died?
No, they were still together, and he goes to like try to find her on the station, and he keeps finding videos from her, but it turns out
So
she's
I wouldn't say she's the ex-girlfriend. She's the deceased girlfriend.
yeah. Eventually, she attacks, and it's fucking. I mean, like this game is.
Maybe she should be your ex-girlfriend. She doesn't sound very good.
I tell you, I swear to
Low
God,
quality.
you guys like you gotta play. Dead Space is an amazing game, and all 3 episodes in the whole series, are beautiful stories, is amazing. It's a great game. Like, I mean, like the first game is all about him and his ex-girlfriend. And then, like in the second game, he's been committed as a crazy person, but he breaks out. And then a breakout of this alien virus that turns people into these creatures with these, like, attacking things for their legs. And it, like, hits a nursery, too. It's insanity.
All right, I'm gonna segue. Do you remember when we all lived together and you karate chopped a bunch of pumpkins in the parking lot in
Yes.
front of our house? Seasonally specific. Let's explore this
I
topic.
think I hit one a couple times and it, like, cracked in the middle or something. So eventually, it wasn't like I did one clean chop and it went all the way through the...
But you were a what belt in Taekwondo at this point?
I don't even remember.
See, I went to a couple Taekwondo events with you, and I did notice there were several people with, like, creepy Steven Seagal ponytails in your, like, in your group.
Real talk.
They were only creepy to you because you're not attracted to Steven Seagal?
That's true. I mean, and there are
That's
women
only specific to her insofar as no women are attracted to Steven Seagal.
I think Steven Seagal's wife probably would take umbrage to that comment.
No, she would take a prenuptial agreement. No.
Burn. I'm sure there are several women attracted to
No, there was
Steven
just a
Seagal
story the other
ponytails.
day. Steven Seagal, like, they said that he, like, brought this Hispanic woman up to his room and was, like,
Oh,
trying to get
no.
a personal
This is sounding
audition
not so good.
to play opposite him in a certain movie. It was like a chemistry test or something like this.
Ooh,
Real
Steven
talk.
Seagal.
Like, he's in all kinds of trouble right now.
So what you're saying basically
and-
is that Steven Seagal, big weirdo,
Isn't he,
not a
isn't he
not a
a
very good
Russian
person.
citizen, though?
music video. Steven Seagal. Creep, creep, creep.
It's too on the
Oh no! All right, well let's segue from
Can you
the
take that iPad away?
karate chopping pumpkins to your harrowing visit to Pumpkin Patch today.
It was a lot of work.
Can you take the phone away?
Oh. Does it affect the recording?
Yes.
Oh. Hopefully it blocked out everything I said.
Like an invisible shield.
Okay, so wait. The pumpkin patch.
Yes.
I got 3 Facebook updates. That sounds few.
But you were at the pumpkin patch today as a single man.
Well, I mean, to give a little context to the situation, we all at one time were in like a very similar place in our lives.
Childless.
Single, childless college students. Now, you and I are a married couple with 2 children, and you, on the other hand, are a single adult man with no
Without
children.
No responsibilities.
I'm not saying you have no responsibilities, but you have no children.
Yeah,
No.
it's a different situation.
Yes, it's a different situation. So we've gone from living inside this similar situation to living in 2 very different situations. And now that you're visiting us, you've of course come with us to the pumpkin patch.
I've been to the proverbial pumpkin patch.
Yes. Although we all went to a pumpkin patch together years ago when we were in college.
But we were childless.
We were
Not
childless.
together.
We were not together, you and
No.
I.
But he was with a girl.
He was with
I was
a
with
girl
a lady.
who, yeah,
A
who
lady.
I think he broke up with her soon after or something.
That was
It's,
that
uh,
related, unrelated?
Did I break up with her or did she break
I don't
up
think
with me?
that you're.
I think she went crazy and then you felt it necessary to break up with her.
I don't remember
That's the way I remember it.
It was a harrowing visit to the pumpkin patch in other
a lot
ways.
of it's emotional, you know. It's
Yeah.
that time of year.
You couldn't
I
find
mean,
the
she
perfect
seemed-
pumpkin and you
I
left
remember
without
you
one.
spending a lot of time looking for the right pumpkin.
I
and she
remember
seemed
wanting to
crazy
leave
and-
Yeah.
for a lot of it, and
But
you
then it was just still
not
happening.
letting us leave because you had to find the perfect pumpkin.
Really?
And
Didn't
then
we go through like a corn maze, and we were in the
Yes.
corn maze for like a really
you were like,
really,
follow
really
the
long
inside
time.
track, and we're like, child, we've been here for like 3 hours.
Like,
I
we
don't
just want
remember
to
this.
go.
I literally don't remember this.
And then the woman that you were with called crying on your phone like 3 days later.
Yeah, that was
And
dramatic.
yeah, it was all over.
And you were like, I should not have brought this woman to the pumpkin patch.
I'll bring you to the pumpkin patch. Something like as 50 Cent said.
But there was a lot of
He didn't say
crying
that.
at our most recent
Candy.
visit to the pumpkin patch as well.
Yes, but that was mostly of our children.
Yes, well, I mean, we have a 3-year-old. So.
Yes.
As you said, you know, transitions are hard for them. You know, you're having so much fun.
It's
and
a
this
sad
cry.
situation because you bring them to like the place, they're having a lot of fun, but you know that the
It's got to
opposite-
end at some point.
when the fun ends, how do we react?
Well, and
Not
even like one fun thing to the next, they don't want to go. So it's like we're in this straw pile, and they just want to stay forever.
It's like-
But it's like we need to move to the
They
part
play
where
with the
like,
chickens. They want to stay forever.
we're trying to like go pick the pumpkin, but they're just like, no, I don't want to go. But then they're
You're
like,
in
I
the
don't want to leave
you're in the hay
pumpkins.
bale maze, and
Yeah.
you never want to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we think about that, like the children's mind is like not capable of processing the memory too long ago. But I think about us too. We want to stay in situations as humans.
Yeah, I mean, if you're having a great time, you want to just live in that great time forever. You don't want to think it has to, like, come to a close.
But doesn't the fact that you've experienced separate great times at several different locations prove that...
But we know
Humans
that
have a short
because
memory. Like children.
we've experienced a lot of great times, so we know, like, this great time will end, but we'll have another great time in the future. They just know, like,
Even
I'm
at the
having a
same
great
place.
time right now. I need to, like, hold on to this for as long as possible.
Yes.
It's a hard situation. I mean, like, it's hard to, I don't know, change is the hardest part.
But the strangest thing was that we ran into, like, people you knew at the pumpkin patch, like, unexpectedly.
That was very surprising. Not what I expected.
It was surprising because, I mean, while we're still in the same state, we're in, like, a totally different town than, like,
What?
where you knew those people from.
Donald Trump without a wig and fake tan, people.
That's not real.
No.
It's
That's
from
like somebody
it's
else.
from one of our friends from high school who joined the military.
No.
Wait, she says, okay. Politics aside, y'all, he looks like he's going to yell, "Get off my lawn" at some kids. And I love it.
Well, we can
She
talk...
loves it. She's like, I wish that he was my grandpa so that he could be here for Thanksgiving dinner with us.
Oh, boy. No.
But, Chad, back to the situation at hand.
Colin Kaepernick still doesn't have a job.
That was what my column was about this week. Can you not sit your
Really?
there? Thank you.
Okay.
If you meet a woman and her price of admission for you is that she wants a kid, what are you going to say? Even if she was...
Let's say it's not now. Let's say it's 5 years from now. You're still single. You meet a woman. She's very appealing to you. And she's like, I really want to get married and have a child right away.
And she's your ideal woman. She's
just like
close your eyes
the
and
best
picture-
woman you've ever been
Yeah.
with, and like
Picture-
better than you
picture
think
the
you could like
ideal
find
woman.
again.
Yeah, she can have a kid, I guess.
She
But
can
it'll
have
be
a
your kid too.
Huh?
She can have a
But
kid?
it's gonna be your kid too. You're gonna have to,
How
like,
involved
do
are we
all
going to be in
the
this trial,
stuff.
Chad?
Oh, no.
She expects it to be like.
She doesn't know yet, he says.
I'm saying, like, she's like, you have to like do this with me. Yes or no?
Well,
This month.
I don't know. Well, I mean, like the ideal woman, yeah, you can do anything for that. Life is hard, though. Relationships.
Well, what do you think about... We're asking about children.
That's 18 years, as Kanye once said.
I don't want to speak for Ash here, but I think it's longer than 18 years.
It's forever.
Forever.
Jesus.
I don't think you ever get
Even
away with
worse.
that.
You will never relax again.
No.
But it's worth it.
I like to relax. I miss relaxing.
I like-
That's why I came
no,
on
but-
vacation.
I like relaxing and miss relaxing too, but at the same time, I can't think of anything better to not relax for than our kids.
I would say that about my 6:30 a.m. class, but that's a different story.
You can quit that.
I can hit that and quit that. Yeah. We're going to hear some funny stories from my school, perhaps.
But it's funny because you teach children all day.
And adults.
But there are teachers that don't want to have their own children.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
Do you think
It's more common than you'd think.
Do you think it's instructive?
One of my students, I've told you guys this, they said, "Wow, I understand you enoughly." I'm like, apparently you don't. Because you said that. Hashtag. Very thin comb.
Hashtag I will murder you. No.
Well, these days, our president and our vice president are having. Our vice president is like talking to his wife is like his mother.
We should save the politics for after Ash goes to bed.
Is she gonna spit some fire on this crack over politics?
Is there anything else you want to talk about while I'm still here?
Do you have any topics you prefer?
Not necessarily. I mean, what's the most interesting thing we can talk about right now?
We were supposed to have 3 episodes contiguously.
Now, is this the horror movie episode, or have we segued into something else?
We're
Which episode is
like
this?
the horror episode is like 10 minutes. Everything else is what we've been doing. Horror movies. Bob. The Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that.
Let's
You
talk
hate that
about-
movie.
I do.
And yet,
And suddenly everyone in the room turned on me.
and yet, and yet, and yet.
Okay, let me explain to you why this is not a good movie. Alright. It's not that scary. I went to this movie.
Where have you lived near the forest?
I lived inside the forest.
I've been in the forest too.
There was so
Freaky.
much build up for this movie. It was supposed to be like the scariest movie, and like okay, here's the real problem. Nothing can ever be as scary as I will imagine it's going to be if someone tells me it's going to be really scary. So like, I went to this movie thinking this will be scary beyond my wildest dreams of like what could be frightening.
Okay.
I expected to be like so scared that I wouldn't be able to handle it, like so scared that like, you know, I would like leap out of my skin, so scared that I would be like, I can't even take this movie, I'm just like petrified. And so I was just like watching the movie waiting to be like more scared. And I waited and I waited and waited, and I was tense though. Like I was like physically tense watching this movie, waiting to be horrified.
I think the director just said mission accomplished.
But just waiting to be horrified, and then I remember when the movie ended, the moment when the movie kind of just like cuts off and ends, being like,
Man, the tape
oh,
died.
and I was like, oh, that's it? Oh, okay.
That wasn't how I felt.
That's it? Really?
It was a freaky ass movie. Like, there was recently a YouTube thing where the guy went through and he said, actually, if you really paid attention to the movie, the two guys murdered the director.
I mean, that's believable, sure.
They talked about, like, you know, there was a whole breakdown. You gotta, like, link to it on YouTube or something. Like, I mean, this guy on YouTube says, like, I mean, the whole thing was that the guy got his friend involved in a murder plot against his ex-girlfriend, who was the director, or whatever. And they say, like, the things like when who's holding the map, and the map has disappeared, but now it's back, and all this stuff. They say that all lends credence to the idea that these guys planned and murdered her. And, like, when the one guy was downstairs, like, he yelled downstairs, I'm down here, or something, and she runs downstairs, that was just to distract from the murder that was getting prepared upstairs, or something.
I mean, that would be scarier than...
You gotta watch
that would make the movie scarier. I might
Let's watch that movie.
I might be willing to rewatch that.
That'd
just
be-
to be like
Let's watch that
scared.
tomorrow.
Could
We'll
do
see.
it. I don't have it, but if you guys got it on
We have it
Netflix.
on
I'm sure it's
VHS.
attainable.
Okay. Hey.
It's within
Hey,
the arena
that's how
of
they
movies
originally
we can
discovered it
access.
in the woods of Burkett, Maryland, right? It was on VHS.
No, I spent
It
that
was
whole
Super
movie
8.
waiting for it to get frightening.
Jesus.
And it wasn't frightening. I'm
was
sorry. It was
fucking
not
scary.
frightening.
It's
It
the
was
forest
not
at
scary.
night is fucking
No.
scary.
But like, I lived in the forest. The forest is my home.
Me
You know
too.
what's scary is like the city at night.
The nights are dark and the wind is long.
But the city at night, there's like
How does that
people
expression
there.
work?
That's scary.
There's
I'm
an
not scared of like
expression from Game of
owls and like
Thrones.
wild animals.
Bob, you got an episode and a half.
No, we need you to weigh in here. What are your feelings about the Blair Witch experience?
I think you're wrong.
But you like that movie. But okay,
Yes.
let's talk about where you and I diverge on what is scary and what
See,
is
I
not.
knew this is why I shouldn't weigh in, because you're going to use this as a referendum because of my general horror taste.
You think that The Exorcist is horrifying.
To me, I didn't say it would have to be for everybody.
He's very religious. Like, for me, like, things like The Exorcist, I mean, okay, the spider walk downstairs or whatever. I haven't ever watched the movie, but, like, it seems like it's like...
So you don't even...
Yeah.
I think I heard
Don't
about
shut
The
the fuck
Exorcist for so
Okay.
long before I saw it that I would, like I said, like anything that I can imagine is going to be worse than something that I
All right,
really
let's
be
just
seeing.
let's watch the trailer to the Blair Witch Project. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
I mean, that looks scary, but I don't think the actual movie was very scary.
I think it was scary. I've been
It's not
lost in the
scary.
woods before.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Everything looks the same. You have no way back.
You're going in circles.
How do you know where you're going?
That's frightening, but it also means that you have very poor navigational skills.
Or somebody hid the map on purpose, right, Joe?
I threw it in the river.
Even if somebody hid/destroyed the map on purpose, you could like use basic navigation to like know that you're going in one direction or.
Not if you still trust the two guys you're with to also be keeping track.
Well, that was her biggest mistake. Never trust the people you're with if they're untrustworthy.
But maybe she didn't know they were untrustworthy until they were lost.
She had poor people skills and wasn't able to ascertain that the guys she was with were
Are you saying
untrustworthy.
you never would have fallen for that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's pretty harsh. You're like, I'm still alive.
I'm sorry, but like, once you ascertain that someone's not trustworthy, you have to like know that like you can't rely on them for like safety, like in life or death, like navigational issues.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So you don't think that's a horror movie?
No, I think it's a horror movie. It's just personally not my favorite. That's all.
What about it don't you like?
The not scariness of it and the just sort of overall lameness. And I think here's what I don't like about it. I like watching horror movies that I can enjoy. Blair Witch is not enjoyable. Like, do you watch that in your home to like enjoy it? Just like personally, just kicking it. Like,
If
I just want to
I
enjoy seeing it.
Feel like being freaked out? Yeah.
But I like Scream, you can enjoy watching that. Like, you could just, like, spend time watching that and, like, feel good in the end. You're, like, enjoying it. You're not gonna be, like, enjoying Blair Witch.
I don't think that's necessarily true.
I think it's true.
But why be feeling?
You won't be having fun.
Ash is saying that you can't have fun watching Blair Witch.
No, I'm just saying, like, I like to watch horror movies that I'm, like, enjoying. Like, part of what I like about Scream is that while it's, like, scary and exciting and blah, blah, whatever, you enjoy watching it. Like, you can just watch it and be, like, having a good time. You're not really having a good time while you watch Blair Witch.
It's a different type of horror.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say.
I still think the scariest horror movie I've ever seen was called Darkness. Is either of you seen that?
You made me watch it once.
Did I make? Yeah, and it was horrifying. It has Anna Paquin in it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was called True Blood.
No, it's called Darkness.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
I think it may have even been released in Asia before it was released in America.
Mm-hmm.
Because it, like, didn't get distribution here or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because the copy that I saw was from that, like, Plan 9 video store, and it was, like, with, like, overdubbed, like, it was, like, overdubbed, and then, like, with, like, English subtitles.
Man, people, nobody knows who the Plan 9 video store was anymore. That's freaky.
That was an amazing video store, though.
Isn't that around anymore?
No,
I assume
hell no. Hell no. Like
Not even
a
its new
CVS
location?
took it out.
Not even its new location?
I think it's probably over. I haven't checked, but I've been assuming that it's not there anymore. Their Facebook page hasn't sent out any updates in the last couple of years.
Maybe this happened any specials lately. Did you ever think that?
Facebook. Plan 9.
No, I miss going to the video store because it wasn't just about like obtaining a film to watch. It was like a whole experience. Like you had to like travel there, journey to the video store.
Thinking about the movie you're going to watch.
Yeah, and then you look around and you do some browsing.
Today, I download a movie and I don't even watch it after it finishes downloading. I'm like, I'll get to it later.
But if you paid $3 for that movie,
if I drive 20 minutes to the video store, I'm like, I want to watch this fucking movie.
Yeah, like, and then you pay, and you're gonna be fined if you like don't return it.
Yeah, you gotta watch it and
feel
return
a little
it.
bit more like drive
we're
to like make it
we're
happen.
citizens in a society here. We gotta follow the rules.
And I don't know, I always felt like a little bit of like, I don't know, you feel like a connoisseur or something when you're like really like browsing the shelves and like thinking like, what movie do I want to see for tonight? It's like,
yeah.
it's a lost art shopping in the video store. It's
Yeah. Debbie Does Dallas isn't gonna watch herself.
Although the only video stores that seem to still be hanging around are the ones that have like secret / not so secret porn sections, like that Family Video or whatever, with their big like illuminated shaft. Like,
make it a family.
what is that? What is that about the thing that they have on the outside of their stores? It's like kind of like a big
phallus.
Yes.
I've not noticed this.
It looks like a big lighted column, but I think it's supposed to be like a secret symbol.
Drive down
They
16th
have like a
Street in
large porn
Bedfordshire, you'll
collection.
see it.
I will, believe me. Don't think I won't.
But those apparently are like the only video stores that are like still doing it.
There's
So
one in Kokomo.
yeah, still happening.
Yeah, but like I don't get it though because that's the easiest thing to get online, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
Who wants to have it on their record?
I assume
Who
it's
wants
like
to charge that on their MasterCard?
You can pay cash.
I don't know. I
You
mean,
can't pay cash on Amazon, that's all I'm saying.
I've checked. Bob, find.
no, but this is good because we've kind of come full circle because we started out talking about like we met in like a library with like videos. And now we're talking about like going to the video store.
All comes full circle.
Yes.
Is there anything else
Going
you
to
want
a
to talk
video
about?
store to not rent pornographic films. I would like.
Yeah,
to
I don't think the Agament Library had any, right?
No,
We
I
had
think
some very artistic international films at times.
So some.
Yeah, but some international
I
films are best left on the shelf.
miss Eigenman. I worked there like 4 or 5 years or something. It was man. I met Tabby Lego down there too, I think.
There were, yeah, that was an interesting dorm. The showers would always flood though, which I was very against. Just like to point out. Not a good plumbing situation.
Your picky taste.
I met a lot of people. I met like this one dude who's like a Republican, like a Trumpite on Facebook and stuff. It's weird. He's Hispanic too. It's really weird. He's from Michigan.
Sounds very confused.
Kind of like a log cabin Hispanic.
Yeah.
No, there were like some very creepy people that lived in Eigenman though, I think because we had like an over 21 floor, so there were like some losers that lived there who were like the people that haven't been able to find a roommate even though they're like
That's me
been in
next
college
year.
for like 4 years. No, I'm just saying if you're like in college
Yeah.
and you can't find like anyone to be your roommate.
Yeah,
It's
that's
different.
pretty-
It's
that's
like
pretty
some of the people on the over 21 floor were like foreign people or whatever that had like their own reasons for like living there.
Mm-hmm.
But some of them were just like
Showers
really
running the.
some of them were just like really
VHS.
weird weirdos that like
We gotta go to Eigenman.
No, you admit that there were some weird weirdos that lived in the over 21 floor. That's all I'm saying. Not everyone.
I didn't even
but, like,
know
a
there
few.
was an over 21 floor, but like there were some older students who were there. for
Yes,
sure.
that's why they were there.
Okay. But like.
Not
okay,
all.
hey,
And let me
Ash,
clarify. Not all the older students were weird. There were plenty of fine people. I'm just saying maybe like 5 or 6 of the people. Maybe like 5 or 6 of them
rapists,
were
the
super
criminals
weird.
are not sending us our best overage people. We want college students, goddammit. Better yet.
No, I'm just saying some of the people were kind of weirdos. That's all.
There were some interesting characters inside. Okay,
Yes.
like 5 years ago, I was teaching at the high school. I'm still teaching at, but there were 2 sections. There's the regular high school, and there's the actual science high school. I taught a girl over there, and she said, "Teacher, where are you from?" I said, "I'm America." She said, "Oh, where in America?" I said, "Indiana." She said, "Oh, where did you go to university?" I said, "Indiana University." She's like, "Oh my God, I lived there with my mom. My mom was a student at Indiana University graduate school." I said, "Oh, did she live in Cherry Blossom?"
You mean like tulip?
Yeah, tulip. I was like, "Was it
Yeah.
a cherry tulip tree?"
Yes.
She's like, "How did you know, teacher?" I'm like, a lot of, not to be racist, but a lot of international students who did graduate school
Just
were
say
in
it.
tulip tree.
Just
Yeah.
say it.
So this girl, when she was like 1 or 2 years old, her mom and her dad were living in Tulip Tree at about the same time that I was a freshman in college there. Isn't that freaky?
That's kind of freaky.
And I taught her in high school, and she was a very smart and English girl.
No, but I wasn't talking about the people that lived in Tulip Tree as being the weird weirdos. I was just saying
Trying
that
over 21 at
some
Iga,
of
which
the
is basically
people-
like Tulip Tree 1.0.
no, it's totally different because
Okay.
Tulip Tree was like families.
Okay.
The Eigenman over 21 floor was just like weird people that could like drink but still lived in dorms.
Yeah. Wish I'd employed that strategy a little more often, if you know what I mean. Yeah, hey girls, let me party at my dorm.
Ew.
Doesn't sound like you're invited, actually.
Yeah, well, invite me if you want. I'm not coming. So I'm just, yeah.
Okay, so what are we talking about? Politics, movies, or scary movies?
What sounds the most exciting to you?
What about just movies? What's going on with movies?
I don't even know anymore. I haven't seen a movie in so long.
I want to see, what's that sci-fi thing? Blade Runner 2049. if you let me
Yes,
say
you
it.
did mention that.
I want to see it.
No, I want to see that too. I mean, I liked the first one, alright. It was very long though.
My mom said she didn't want to see the first one because she heard that it was very anti-women.
It kind of was.
I don't know. Even the male characters were androids that were like featured prominently.
Yeah, I mean, it was mostly, I would say, about robots, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Andy Dick, I don't know if he was a sexist or not, but you just remember that one we saw back in college? What was it called? Rotoscoping.
Are you talking about,
Scanner Darkly?
yeah.
Scanner Darkly, yes, exactly. Exactly.
We're almost at 3 hours.
Oh my god. Well, I'm having to cut it down a little bit.
It'll be like 15 minutes.
So, hello everybody.
All right, well, it's been a great time. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we go? It's going to take me 1.5 million years to edit down. I'm going to take out everything good.
What's a nice, safe, yet interesting topic that you can talk about?
I don't know.
Okay, scary movies. How about that again?
Alright.
What scary movies have we discussed?
Jaws. Sharks. The Beach.
Do you
The
consider
Beach
that-
is so good. It's not really scary, though, is it?
We read that in my book club, and frankly, when I was in high school and I saw The Beach, and like that part where the two Swedish guys got killed by the shark, that freaked me out.
No, that part is like the scariest part. I don't consider that to be a horror movie, though. It's more just uncomfortable.
That was like real horror. Like the shark thing was wild.
But a horror movie, I would say, about sharks would be like... I mean, not really horror. I feel like most shark movies are more like suspense. Like,
Yeah.
will they or will they not be eaten by the shark? Like,
The answer is always yes.
Did you see Deep Blue Sea?
Yeah.
No, there's a film right
My
there.
arm is
LL
like a
Cool
shark
J.
fin. Yeah. That was,
Yeah,
I rewatched
I think
it.
the song that LL Cool J rapped for the outro of that movie was very special.
I think that was the one he was quoting.
I know.
Yeah.
But
That's what I was saying. My
It was very
arm is
special.
like a shark's fin. That's what he said. No, it's a funny movie. And it was a cool movie because like it was an interesting concept. They were out on this like this man-made island where they were testing like genetically modified sharks. And this guy's just like a chef down there with a parrot on his arm and stuff. And like all these scientists and like hunks and babes are like coming down there like, where's my food? Oh my God, we're going to be eaten.
I think this is the perfect description of the film.
Bub, give me $1 million for this podcast.
What, not to air it?
You can't air it though. It's a sad story.
No, because we just need you to rap the rest of the My Arm is Like a Sharksman song, and that will make my life complete.
We've been talking for 179 minutes.
I don't know how many hours that is. But,
Almost 3.
Other good.
It's going to be an hour when you cut it down.
Yeah, my book club read The Beach.
Who
And
is
then
it
we watched
by?
the movie. Some British guy.
You remember the movie,
DiCaprio
though,
was
don't you?
supposed to play a British guy.
I remember the movie, but I
But
never
he was
read
like,
the
I
book.
cannot do an accent, I'll just be like an American dude.
It worked, but still. Yeah, the book was interesting too because the character was not very sympathetic in a way. Like the movie. You know, he was kind of an asshole.
He's really only sympathetic because you're like, oh, Leonardo DiCaprio, don't die. But like, really not.
Leonardo DiCaprio, I don't know. What's he done the past year?
Lately, just being super rich kind of makes things better.
Wolf of Wall Street is the last
Oh,
thing I
Jesus.
think
That
I
was a
saw.
long
I
time
tried to
ago.
watch 20
Is there
minutes
a
of that. I
movie
couldn't
you've
watch it.
seen of his since then?
No, but I assume he's still working.
He's got to be, but like,
Well,
I was
The
working on something
Revenant.
good.
Was the one movie I haven't seen of his.
The Revenant?
But that's several years ago. I tried to watch that with a Chinese teacher, and like even though there was no language requirement because it was all like we didn't finish it, and I never finished the movie because it was like, oh God, this is long. Okay, you got killed by a bear. Now you're back. Okay.
Well,
No, but I mean, I think Leonardo DiCaprio is one of those people that's become so rich and so famous that they don't even need to work very much. Like, he has enough money. He could probably just do like one movie every 5 years that he feels really passionate about and spend the rest of his time being like, I'm sad about the environment. Like,
Is that what he does?
yes.
Yeah, he's a solid. I mean, he's paid his dues for sure. Romeo and Shakespeare's Juliet was like.
I love that movie though.
that was in the
wild movie.
90s, though.
It was a
That was a
wild
long
movie.
time ago. But I
It
love
was
that
much
movie.
better than Titanic.
Yeah, but I
like,
mean,
Titanic had great special effects and everything, but when you go back and watch the characterization, acting, and writing, it's garbage.
No, I mean, I've seen the Romeo and Juliet movie with him in it, like, probably, like, 15 times. I've seen Titanic, like, twice, and that was, like, too many.
Exactly.
But Chad, don't you want to paint me like one of your French girls?
Yeah.
Although that whole I'm King of the World thing has, like, somehow lived forever.
And also, I'm not going to scoot over on the big door.
Huh? I don't know that one. Oh,
You're talking about how, like, they totally could have both lived if they had, like, both gotten on the door, but instead she was like, I'm just going to be on this door while you, like, freeze stiff in the water.
Both of them.
Well,
I thought so.
I recently saw that, like, one of those big scientists, you know?
The big scientists say that they could or could not have both gone on the door.
One of those guys was, like, saying, like, number one, his survival instinct would have kicked in, especially for a survivor like Jack, what's his name?
Do you think he would have shambled up onto the door?
Not that door necessarily, but he wouldn't have stopped looking.
You think he would have, like, found something else to get on?
Yeah, he was going to get on something.
He would have just been, like...
Could have been Rose. Could have been somebody else. Excuse me, old lady. You see a spot on your raft.
All I'm saying was, though, did it not appear that the raft was big enough for both of them? Like, didn't you think that he could have also gotten on there and they still could have floated and, like, both of them could have been, like, not dying in water?
It's an infinite digression whereby he could have, like, you know, he didn't want to, like, even if there was a chance that sinking the raft would have killed his Rose, he wouldn't have done it, right? He was just that kind of guy. A movie guy.
But couldn't they have at least both, like, tried to get on the raft, just, like, at least see if maybe it could work out before
Rose
he was
was
just,
hot.
like, I'll just cling to the
I would have tried to get on the raft a couple times. Hey, let me up there with you, baby. Come give me the cold shoulder if you know how to be.
Oh.
I don't know.
This is not a time for puns.
No, it's not.
Trying to make a pun out of that.
I recently, speaking of movies that are like Titanic but not as good, I recently watched Poseidon, which is, like, I guess a remake of the Poseidon Adventure, but, like, a modern one starring, like, various known and semi-unknown people. Like, Richard Dreyfuss was there.
Wow.
And, like, there was, like, one other sort of known person there.
Was he in the original then?
No, I don't think so. No, it was, like, this was, like, I don't know how closely this one stuck to the original script. I know it was basically a remake, though.
But was he in it because he was, like, an homage to the original because he was in the original?
I was not aware of that.
I think you might
I have not seen the original. But Poseidon was not very good. It's one of those things where you know they just made it because they were like, everyone's very into Titanic right now. What other big boat?
But Poseidon was a movie that was popular in its time, too.
But, like, now that people don't have to travel by boat, it seems just so self-indulgent. It's like, it's harder to feel bad for people that are in a big boat crash because it's like, you didn't need to be here.
Most of our things from overseas get to us by boat.
Yeah, but those are, like, shipping boats, not just, like, people that are just, like, on the boat.
Kyle, you want to take this one?
People.
I don't know what's going on.
We're talking about boating.
How do you feel about boating as, like... Okay, all I'm saying is that it's harder to feel bad for people that are in a big boating accident now because boating is very self-indulgent. It might have been more harrowing to see a boat crash at a time when, like, most travel had to be by boat.
Sure.
Like, if you had to, like, to get back to your job in Korea, take a boat.
You'd be on there for, like, 3 months, first of all.
Yes, but
Sounds
it would
like
be like a
extension
harrowing...
of my vacation. I could write my great American novel.
But if you, like, had to boat back...
Interior, scene 1, in the bottom of a shipping vessel.
Why is it cold? Why am I alone?
No, but if you had to take... If you
I can
had
see
to
the
take
plot
a boat... But seriously, if you had to take a boat back...
Yeah.
And then the boat had, like, a horrible crash and you died, we would, like, feel bad because we'd be like, oh, man, he was just trying to get back there and the boat just all went wrong.
Are you saying you would feel less bad if you died of a boating accident if you had the means not to be in a boat?
Yes, because I'm saying now boating is, like, luxurious and almost, like, anachronistic. Like, going on a cruise is kind of an anachronism of, like, a time when, like, a luxury cruise was,
People
like...
take cruises all the time.
Yes, but I'm saying that cruising is just for luxury. It's not
You
like
don't
you
feel
have
bad for luxury victims?
I feel bad. I'm just saying I don't feel as bad.
Hashtag, I'm with
We're
him.
not going to send you as a crisis counselor to the next luxury boat crash where they had to eat the people because there was no
I'm not
food.
saying I don't feel bad at all. I'm just saying it's harder. You don't feel as bad for people who have an accident doing something that's pure luxury than you do for people who have an accident doing something that's like necessary.
If you enjoy this podcast, there are several ways to support it. I have a Patreon account, which can be found at www.patreon.com/Rob Burgess Show Patreon. I hope you'll consider supporting in any amount. Also, please make sure to comment, follow, like, subscribe, share, rate, and review the podcast everywhere it's available, which includes iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play Music, Facebook, Twitter, Internet Archive, TuneIn, and RSS. It really helps. The official website for the podcast is www.therobburgessshow.com. You can find out more about me by visiting my website, www.thisburgess.com. Until next time.